a couple more days before I wash my hair again,
Right.
then absolutely not. I can't, like, hats can only be on the day before hair washing day.
Absolutely. I love what you said about if it's hair washing day, because there are so many people that just wash their hair every single day.
No.
Like, you're drying it out, first of all, but second, you don't need to. Dirty hairstyle's better.
Yeah.
You know, you're putting shit in your hair anyway.
Yeah, I'm Monday, Thursday, and if it's a really sweaty week, Saturday as well.
Right.
Or depending on what I have going on.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You just, I don't mess with that. I don't mess with being so
Yeah. I'll go out with friends, and if they're smoking, because I don't smoke, but if they are smoking, then I'm like, all right, well, is it Wednesday night? I'll wash my hair in the morning. I can stand on this side of you. But if it's like, no, it's Monday night. I washed my hair earlier.
Right.
Then, then like, how dare you even blow that in my general direction?
That's right. My hair is clean. Would you stop? Remember the old days where it was like, oh, I can't go out Friday. I'm washing my hair.
Yeah.
Like back in the day. They
Yeah.
used to have, like,
Oh,
use it
I'm
as an
that
excuse.
person. Yeah.
It's like, yes, I'm totally washing my hair. I
Yeah.
can't go out. Oh my goodness. Does Maker's Mark shoot well, or does it not shoot well? It's more of a sippy.
Yeah, it's a sippy, but I don't shoot much of anything.
Yeah.
I've figured out my blood sugar is such that if I shoot, it's sleepy time.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it'll hit you. Now.
Yeah, exactly. So even if I do, when people are all doing shots around me, I'll be like, oh, okay, and I'll sip it, and they're like, no, Tiffany, you're supposed to shoot that. And I'm like, I understand what you're supposed to do.
You're like, I know. I'm going to do what the hell I want.
I also am planning on standing up.
I know what you're supposed to do.
I like my eyes open.
I like my eyes open and to be awake. That's true. Mm-hmm. I love it. Mm-hmm. You getting all situated over there, Daniel? Yeah. With the enormous phone charging cord. It's like 10 feet long or whatever.
Oh, yeah. I charged beforehand. You know, I get weirdly anxious about anything just for no reason.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I'm leaving the house. Like, I'm going to leave for 10 days.
Right.
You know? Like, does the dog have his thunder wonders? He's okay. Gobo is fine. Is my phone fully charged? Yes. Okay. And then I'm like, we all have iPhones also. It's not like you don't have chargers at your house.
True.
If I somehow go from 80% battery to 2, I'm not really sure what I'm doing with my phone during the podcast if that happens.
That's true, right? I tend to freak out when it gets to 60%.
Yeah.
I'm like, I need to plug my phone in.
Yeah.
And now.
What happens? What happens if I can't get an Uber?
Jody guy's asking, what's happening?
What's
here?"
happening? Jody's guy's saying, what's happening here? Oh.
Man, I don't know if he's seen the show since.
No,
we
I
start
don't think
like
he
this.
has. We start really weird because we started with a song when he was here.
But I think we're good to go now.
I think we are good to go.
Let's start it up in 3, 2, and 1.
Boom sauce. There
What's
we
up,
are.
everyone? Welcome to the Unsung Screamers live.
Live.
On this day, September the 15th, be with you.
Mm-hmm.
Episode number 102.
102
Ooh.
of the Screamers.
And you know, it's 102 of just the Screamers.
Yes, it is.
We did like 40 episodes of chat.
Yes, and 55 episodes of the audio.
Before we changed the name.
We've been doing this a minute.
Hot minute.
Look what we have here.
Man, I'm excited about tonight. I think we've been trying to make this happen for about 2.5 years.
I think
At
since we
least.
started the audio podcast.
At least.
Yes.
Yeah.
It
Yes.
might be 3 years.
It might be 4, buddy.
Yeah, I think it actually has been
Yeah.
because I mean I know we lost like at least a year or 10 years with COVID, but that was actually like 2 years ago.
It was.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
like 2.5,
Yeah.
almost 3.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yeah.
And so
it
we've
was
been
before
doing
that.
this since August of 2018.
Yeah.
And that's when we first started inviting people and schedules and all this crap. And then 2020 hit and
Yeah.
all that junk. But
So
it's,
for whatever reason, we finally were able to get Tiffany samples.
yay, everybody clap.
Yay.
We don't have sound effects here.
No, we have
play a
spirit
fake
fingers,
found.
Spirit fingers. Let's
Spirit
I'll
fingers.
wait. Oh, snap.
Yeah.
Do some spirit fingers.
Jazz
Oh my
hands and
God.
snaps.
We're going to go back to high school dance classes.
Da-da-da-da-da.
We have a bunch of folks already. Jody's here. Dean Daisy's here. Julia Drake Cobb is here. Hi, Julia. Christy Presser's here. Hi, Jared. Jared's here. He says, hello, friends. Looking great, Tiff.
Aw, Spanx, friend.
Thanks.
She does look great. For those of you who think she's been in hiding for the last 2 years,
I know.
she's just been out there
Busting ass.
busting ass
I
and being
did
her
get-
best self.
I want you to know that I haven't out of the house. I don't know if you can tell. This
You
is
got
my
some
version of a
sun.
tan.
That's
So I'm
Look at
somewhere
you.
between
Just that
like
one spot?
eggshell. No, I've actually got a line if you
Yes?
look right in between. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'm somewhere between eggshell and like not quite a brown egg, but you know, I'm getting there.
it's working for you.
Yeah.
Looks good. Looks good.
It's never happened before in my life.
Right?
So it took me 41 years to finally get slightly off-white.
Slightly off-white.
I'm
Nice. Not so
pretty excited
blaring
about it.
anymore.
Yeah, I know. I know. Like all the lights, the little reflective things that you have set up in here for the video. I'm usually just that person in the picture.
It fades
Yeah,
away.
people are like, angle her here. The light reflects off of her. It's fine.
We can see her hair, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's funny. Alabaster. No,
Oh, man.
I love it. Slightly between eggshell and almost a brown egg.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
That is good.
Not quite, but I'm
So
there.
how has it been? What's your last few years?
Oh, man.
That's too big of a question.
That's too big.
But I
That's a
mean,
huge question.
Yeah.
You can kind of answer with the same generality. You know,
Or you can just go, I'm good.
No.
I've been good.
It's been a journey, man,
Yeah.
and it's so exciting.
Yeah.
So many things have changed and grown, and I'm on like a really cool growth path, and lots of change that's exciting and scary too. But
Yeah.
but I love it, and yeah, things are good. Always progressing.
Well,
Good.
that's good. Yeah, we've been. I spy your videos all the time. Your
Yeah,
your,
right.
your work videos.
Yeah.
I spy them all the time. Get some tips.
Yeah.
Yeah, which work? Might as well get right into that
Yeah.
because and I know that Tiffany's been, I'm sure a lot of jokes have come her way because of the kind of work she does.
Oh, yeah.
But I actually am also interested in asking how it related to the COVID situation because I'm sure it was very relevant.
Yeah.
But without even trying to make a joke, it's just a statement. You've seen more buttholes in this town than anyone else. Is that a
Yes.
fair statement?
I would say yes. From a professional sense, for sure. Yeah.
What kind of profession are you
I,
talking about?
I wax them.
There you go.
Hashtag I can wax that is what is on
wax
a lot
that.
of my
Nice.
and the videos you were talking about that did come from I had done some before COVID, but then when the shutdown happened, I was like, well, how do I stay in front of people?
Right.
My past in marketing reminded me that when things get tough, the people who stay in front of people are the people who stay in business.
Yes.
Right.
So how do I do that? So I started doing tips at least twice a week. And that was my I'd shower and put on makeup to do a
Right.
tip on my front porch
Yeah,
while
yeah.
my dog's barking or something. But yeah, and I do waxing. I started as a massage therapist in 2001. I added aesthetics in 2014 and became a national educator for men's Brazilian waxing.
Wow.
No kidding.
Did
Yeah.
you hear that?
Yeah.
Let's say that again.
Let that sink in.
I became a national educator for men's Brazilian waxing. I am one of about 4 people in the country who these big trade shows. I'm sure you guys have heard. Like, there's in a movie somewhere. There's like a hair show, and there's thousands of people and these big hairdos, and they're doing all this stuff.
Right.
Well, there's an aesthetics side to that. We're in the smaller part of the
The
venue.
expo?
The expo.
But there's a lot of wax training and facial training and all of these things. And so there are few people who would teach men's Brazilian waxing live.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I would be in a class in New York, Chicago, Vegas, Fort Lauderdale, Fort Worth, where I would go in, and there are about 100 other estheticians that are in the class to learn from me.
Wow.
And I'm meeting somebody and saying, "Hi, nice to meet you. Drop your pants, get on the table, and here's bright lights that you're going to be waxed
Oh,
for
my God.
everybody to see."
Wow.
Yeah, and it's everybody is leaning over to the point that you're having to tell them, now you're going to have to move back. Or I'm going to hit you with the wax. So it's not like the Seinfeld episode where everybody's up above and they're
Yeah,
looking down and
right.
you drop the juju bean or whatever it was.
Right.
Yeah, it's not that. Like, everybody's right in your face. You're like, no, you're going to have to skip back. So
Yeah.
And in his stuff.
yeah.
They're right in his
Oh,
stuff.
my
Yeah,
gosh,
and
that is
it's
wild.
usually like one of the estheticians that's there for training. It's usually one of their husbands.
Oh my gosh.
Okay.
Yeah, my friend Kelly Grimacy from California, who was teaching with me, she was really good at getting people to do it. So she would, as people were walking through and she'd see a couple, Oh, is your wife? Oh, wonderful. Well, would you like to help with her education? I'm sure you would. How would you like a free wax from one of the best in the country? And she would get them to come over, and I was just, honestly, I had only been waxing for a few years by the time I'm teaching at this level, but when nobody
There's
else will
no
do
one
it, they
else.
don't know.
Right.
That's right.
So
Right.
that was the truth.
I love it.
There's the truth.
100 people with some guy's junk just out there.
Yeah.
But it's a clinical situation.
It is, and that's the thing is that a lot of people are like, "Oh, well, you wax men, isn't that?" And all the questions of, "Does this happen? Does that happen?" Okay, so the thing that I would tell people a lot in the class,
get hard?
right, yeah, that's the question, and it's on my website, so we're gonna get that out of the way right now. It's kind of like taking a puppy to the vet.
Right.
They might get excited about the car ride until they figure out where they're going.
There you go.
So yes, it's never an issue. There is nothing sexy about bright lights, bright LED lights with like hot wax. Like it's not. It's just not. It's a clinical thing. It's very similar to being a urologist, I'm sure. Where you're
I
like,
bet.
hey,
Right.
I mean,
I need a little something to work with here, guy.
Yeah. I don't have the debt of a doctor. I don't have the income of a doctor, but I get to do some of the same work. That's what I tell myself.
Just, yay. So have you ever had a patient, do you call them patients or clients?
Clients.
So have you ever had a client halfway through go, nope.
Oh yeah. So twice actually. I have. So natural redheads are they experience pain a little differently. So twice I have had a man come in that was a natural redhead, and I said, "Look, I'm just going to." The first one I told him actually I told both of them up front. This is going to hurt a lot more. One of them was fully tatted. Actually, when we got to the procedure, I found out that he had a Prince Albert piercing as well. And 2 pulls, and he was like, I'm out, I can't do it. Like he was hyperventilating.
Oh
he was
my.
like, yeah.
More than his tattoos.
Yeah, and I told him, I said, I understand this is a different kind of pain. And I have, I've had lots of redheaded clients since then, and not everybody does that. I've had some that don't flinch, but it is like, I do know when I'm going in, I'm like, all right, we're going to see how this goes. And I did tell him, I was like, if you need to tap out, no disrespect, man. Like if you got to tap out, you got to tap out.
Yeah.
Right.
And he did. And I had another one who, he was like, I feel like maybe I should grab your arm. And I said, that's going to be a really bad idea. And,
Yeah, I'd say.
and he never he did text me again to try to. He's like, I think I might be ready, and I was like, if you're not like, no,
Yeah.
we're not doing this. No,
Right.
I need you to be right in and out. Like honestly, my favorite clients are nurses, and other healthcare workers because they're like just do what you got to do and let me get out of here because
Yeah.
it's all about cleanliness and getting it done. They don't care.
And they also understand if you wait
they
and
see things,
draw it out, it's going to be worse.
Yeah, they see
just
things
pull the
all day
Band-Aid.
long. Yeah,
Literally.
They also know though when I'm trying to like make conversation and distract them, and my tattoo artists know the same thing, and they're like, I know what you're doing. I do this to my clients.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm just trying.
Whatever you want.
Like the dentist that shakes your cheek when he does the needle. He's like shaking your cheek. It's like,
Yeah.
you're just trying to distract me. He goes, yes, I am.
Yeah.
But now that you know that, okay, I'll just.
So what did you do for Thanksgiving?
Yeah. Well, no, I got to get this. So I'll ask them a question.
And let them
And
start
right,
answering.
it's like right when they get in that point where you know they're really thinking and their mind goes somewhere else, then I'm like, whoop. So that's actually the trick. Not that I'm talking, but that they're talking.
So by saying Brazilian, that means everything goes.
It does.
Okay.
It does. So
how many strips?
Defined everything.
Well, all the hair.
No, I know.
Yeah, okay.
But I mean, but like,
it is actually
That's
a
good.
question
Yeah,
that people
how-
have.
how
What's a
far-
bikini? What's a modified bikini? Modified Brazilian? And what's a Brazilian? So on everyone, bikini is what would be in the bikini line. If you were to be wearing a bikini, it's what we want to make sure isn't showing.
Right.
So that's in that triangle area. Modified is going to be in between. It's usually a little more conversation. What do you want left? What do you want gone? And then Brazilian is usually hip bone to hip bone, everything in between, all the way back through the gluteal cleft.
okay.
That is the proper term for your ass crack.
Right.
So all
okay.
around the taint.
Yeah, yes.
All around
Yes,
the taint.
That's the
Go.
perineum.
And further.
And further and
And
beyond.
beyond.
Because some
Yes.
people have that.
Yeah, there's a lot, and everybody's different. And it's men do feel the between the cheeks a lot more typically than women do. The first men's Brazilian that I did, I was talking him through it like it was a female Brazilian. So I'm like, all right, now as we get to the back, you'll feel the heat quite a bit, but you won't feel the pull nearly as much. So don't worry about that. And I pulled, and he's like, you're a liar. I was like, okay, so men feel that quite a bit more.
All right, good to know.
And it's
Let's write
about
that down.
50-50. Some do, some don't. And so
I find it very interesting because I know that there are some people, men in particular, that are like, their whole ass is hairy. So if you're doing a Brazilian, you're doing a stripe, basically?
yeah, so you're doing in between. It's mainly for cleanliness. That's the
Sure.
purpose of a Brazilian. 90% of the time
On
is,
men
is for
specifically.
cleanliness. Yeah, it's people that they don't want to shave. I actually have a lot of people who are in industries where they sweat a lot. So healthcare workers, people who work outside, electricians, mechanics, I have a lot of, because there's a lot of friction up and down and everything, and they sweat. And when they shave, they end up with a lot of razor burn,
Yeah.
ingrown hairs, just
Itchy.
bacteria growth. Yeah. And so they start waxing. I also have, rest in peace to one of them, some older clients who couldn't see anymore to manscape. I did until he did pass away from COVID, but I had a client who was 77 and came in every 4 weeks for his men's Brazilian.
Holy moly.
Yeah.
How about that skin on an older person, though?
It is very thin. There are terrible things that happen to it, and you do have to be very careful. So yes, it is. It is.
Yeah, I don't think I would have imagined that the market was that good for that kind of a thing.
Especially for men.
I will never touch anything in a nursing home again. I can also tell you from his stories, I will never touch anything.
Wow.
So
From
I know
his stories.
From his cleanliness stories.
So at that age, they'll give you Viagra till you die. And the male to female ratio of single people is quite off. So there's a lot of single females to one single man, and he was putting in work until
he
his
was busy,
dying
huh?
day. Yes, and I would have
That's
to.
why you won't touch things. In a
Yeah,
nursing
yeah.
home.
So I won't touch anything.
I gotcha.
damn.
Handrails,
Yeah.
handrails, and
Still
chairs.
just a living life.
Well, yeah, more power to
Well,
him.
good on him.
Yeah,
then.
right?
Yeah, I mean,
To
he
want
had
to be cleaned up too for it.
the funny thing was he had COPD and AFib. So I was always worried, even way before COVID. He'd been with me
Right.
for like 3 years before COVID. I was worried, like, okay, did they shock him back to life? Like, is
my.
he, did he die in between the 4 weeks? Like, oh, cool, you showed up. Awesome.
Oh, my
You're alive. And that was a legitimate thing. And
Oh
so,
boy.
yeah.
That's good
I
stuff.
bet there are hundreds and hundreds of stories.
Yeah. Cheers.
What was the worst?
Ooh.
I have had clients who, it's usually a cleanliness thing.
Right,
Is
right.
the, when
More
when I,
dingleberries than others.
yeah, when people, I've had just full on poop. I
Oh,
gotta tell, like,
wow.
yeah, yeah, and
Like they
Did
didn't
you
even think to
what?
shower before they.
yeah, and I will tell you that more times than not, it's women.
Really?
No kidding.
Men, because there's so few of us that do men's waxing, men are good clients for the most part because they're so worried about offending you.
Wow.
About, like, they know they've only got like 2 other choices.
Right.
So they're like, if I piss her off, it's not going to happen. And we all talk too. Like,
Yeah,
we don't,
yeah.
there is a certain degree of HIPAA that you follow, but there's
Sure.
also a heads up between, professionals that you're like, also don't book this phone number.
Right.
So, but yeah, so it's usually, but women, you can go to European Wax Center, you can go to these places, you can go wherever. So they're like, oh, sorry, girl, it's been a long day. And I'm like, yeah. Like,
So when you come
It
back,
sure
you're gonna
has.
book your appointment first thing in the morning. Okay.
right. Yeah. Yeah.
All I have open is mornings now.
That's it. Sorry, I only do 7 a.m.s.
Do you still do the massage stuff?
I do. So I don't take new clients anymore unless occasionally by referral I will.
Right.
I have a friend, Tina McLean is her name, and Connie Chung is her Facebook profile. But she does she does a form of massage that is closer to chiropractic. It's more of an alignment, but it is still a massage form, and she will refer people to me. So we refer back and forth. But other than that, I don't take a lot of new clients anymore. I prefer to see people that I've seen for years that I know. So yeah, it's hard work.
Christy Pressler was saying she totally missed the opportunity for Dan to be
Use as an example.
Use as an example.
Yeah.
That
I am
actually-
about to take on an apprentice.
Oh.
So at some point, if she wants to learn,
Yeah.
I can tell you, there may be an opportunity.
That leads me to a question I had, though. Have you done Friends?
So females, yes. I've done, like, all of my friends, no big deal. Men, it's much more few and far between. I have found out when somebody has come in, actually, that's been the only time. I take that back. I have waxed some friends after I have known them, but the majority of it is somebody who has come in and then we're like, oh, I know you from.
Right.
And,
Okay.
it might be from years ago. I am not on any dating sites anymore because that happened one time that a guy was on my table and he's like, do you remember that we matched on Tinder 2 years ago? And I was like,
You dirty dog.
Taking that away.
and he's like, I'm not like, I'm in a relationship and it's like, I'm realizing who you are. And I was like, yep.
Taking that away.
I don't know. Like,
So it's not necessarily the kind of business that would be like, that's a strict thing you don't do is friends.
no, it's not.
Kind of
because
like
it's-
counselors are. They don't like usually
yeah.
counsel friends, but
And I've talked to, I go to therapy, talk therapy and hypnotherapy actually.
Nice.
But I've talked to my therapist about this because she said, well, how do you handle that? And I do have people who were friends before that come in. Very rarely is there somebody who was a client first and then we will end up hanging out.
Right.
Actually, one of the few times that has happened is my friend Mona from Saudi Arabia, who came into my office first, and then I was like, so can I ask you questions?
right.
And I'm like, you can tell me to shut up when it's time, but, and this is back when women in Saudi were just being allowed to go to soccer games and right before they were being allowed to drive. And
Right.
so we've actually stayed in touch. She might be watching now for all I know. But we've stayed in touch. And so that's one of
I think
my
we've
few.
had conversations
have.
with you about her.
Yes,
haven't
we have.
Yeah, she's super awesome. I think she's going to be back in the States maybe in January.
Yeah.
So,
Very cool.
yeah.
So we got a couple of comments. I just want to jump over here.
Okay.
Mike McWhorter says, I came in on the Dingleberry story. I think I missed something, or I'm glad I missed something.
Yeah.
And then Russ Weatherby says, I tuned in for an on-air live waxing. No, hashtag lame.
Cheers, Russ.
We could have done it.
We could have. That'd have been funny.
Yeah.
Face that way.
Yeah, to be perfectly clear, Tiffany is very professional.
Yes.
These are
Yeah.
kind of just jokes. If you know her and you go make an appointment, everything's going to go just
It'll
fine.
be professional.
It's going to be done
Yeah.
the way it's supposed to be done.
We're making it silly. She doesn't.
If you did do a friend, would they take their pants off and would there be any chance you would be like,
Okay, well, one,
Just-
if they
just
want me
to be
to wax
funny. Just to be
anything
funny.
under their pants, it's going to help if I'm not trying to blindly like stick a wax down in there. Is that it? Does that feel right? Cool. Oh, we get it? Oopsie. Yeah. So that's probably not going to happen. So yes, I have had a lot of people ask that, and it's so funny to me. I've had friends ask before, so do you have to see it? Yes.
Yeah,
It's like if
right
you want me
there.
to
I
put
do.
hot wax on your genitals, you would probably prefer that I know what I'm doing and where I'm putting it. But no, I have.
Don't give him a sock or something to cover stuff.
Right. The only time that has happened, I used to do spray tans, and I don't do that in my office now. It's not set up for it. But I did a spray tan once, and there was a guy who wanted a full tan, and he asked if it was okay if he was nude for it. I was like, yeah, it's fine. And then he wore a sock. And I was like, why is he wearing a sock? I told him it's fine. I do men's Brazilian waxing. This is no big deal. Then I realized that he probably didn't want that tan because it would absorb the color. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. So that is the only sock experience.
Nice.
But yeah, I do. So being a massage therapist first, having a background working for the healthcare system and in the hospital system, I do follow HIPAA procedures. So while I can say, here's a story about this guy who died, one, he's dead. I say that with all due respect, but he is.
Sure. Sure.
Two, I'm never going to say their name or anything like
Well,
that.
yeah.
So,
Of course.
yeah.
Yeah. The only one you said was Mona, but she's a friend and
Yeah, and
and
she
that-
was a client.
Yeah, a
like,
client,
not
yeah.
yeah. So, yeah, I do lots of things. I do waxing, I do facials, I do massage, I do all of these things. So it's not to say that if somebody is like, oh, I've been to her for aesthetics, it doesn't mean that they necessarily got waxed from me.
Right,
It just
right.
mean they've been in my office.
For
So.
potential lots of things.
Right.
I loved those videos you did during COVID.
Yeah.
They were really cool. I went through and just watched them for a bunch
Sitting
of them.
on the
once.
porch with nowhere to go.
Yeah.
Watching Tiffany.
Yeah, because they were, I know some of them might have just been on your porch and very casual, but they were thorough. They were informative. The way you actually did them. I mean, the performance of them even. I don't know. It sounds kind of weird, but they were done well and they
Thank
were
you.
cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
I think that was a brilliant idea.
Yeah, I've kept up with it. And Mondays I try to do something that's just general life hack tip. Motivational, whatever. And then Thursday is more centered on my business, which reminds me it's Thursday. I recorded my video and I haven't posted it, so maybe I'll do that when we go to the bathroom.
Right.
or maybe tomorrow.
But speaking of your business, the name of it, Solace.
Yes, Solace Body Solutions. So Solace is that place that brings you back to your center,
Okay.
whatever that is. So really, even when it's waxing, I'm providing a stress relief, a time relief for people, rather than whatever time they're going to spend in the shower every morning. I have a lot of things I could say about bacteria and everything else from razors, but we won't go there. But whatever it is that brings you solace, that is what my goal is to bring that to my clients.
Nice.
So,
And is this actually your company? Oh,
Yes.
cool.
And you are located?
I am located Campbell and Walnut Lawn area. So if you are familiar with Marty's Sports Bar, I am just a couple doors south, I think.
Yep.
Yeah, south of Marty's. So I've been around. I was in Innovation Salon and Spa before. I rented space in a chiropractic office, and now I'm there in an office mall, and it's nice. It's
On
my
your
own
own.
space.
On your
Yeah,
own.
yeah.
Doing
Doing
it.
your thing.
I can shut my door and leave when I want to.
Yeah.
And it's great.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love it. I'm so proud of where you are right now because I've known you for a long, long time. And this is
Yeah.
the best I've ever seen you look.
Oh,
and
thank
I'm not
you.
just talking about your size. I mean, your face. Your
I
eyes
am.
are shining.
Thank you.
I am.
Of course he is.
Just kidding.
That would be the 100 push-ups I do twice a week.
That's right.
And I'm not kidding.
There you go. 100 push-ups is a hell of.
That's-
You don't get there by doing nothing.
Yeah,
I remember that picture you posted of your back.
Oh
Yeah.
my
It was
gosh.
so good when you
Yeah.
were like, "Hey, been working."
I competed in fitness and figure back in 2001 when I was 21. And 2002 when I was 21. That's right. So I've stayed in and out of fitness. And honestly, again, COVID, like it was something that was like, when you don't have anywhere to go outside of the house, it was like, are you going to stay home and drink or are you going to do something productive? So I had to.
We stayed home
Yeah.
and drank.
Yeah, we picked
That's
the
what we
drinking
did.
route.
So I had to do a workout every day, and I never thought I would be somebody who worked out at home because I was such a gym rat before, and I needed that I've got a place to be.
Yes.
Right.
Let me get under the iron and all that. And now I have my iron at home, so
Yeah.
it's great, and
That's cool.
I do. I work out every morning, so it's good.
It's working.
That's awesome.
It is working for you. So, can you pour me a shot of JMO?
Oh, you want some JMO?
Do you need more ice for your sippy?
No, I'm
good?
I'm watered down. I'm sipping.
It's good.
It's cool.
I might actually do Makers and sip it. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna follow suit with you. Do a shot of Makers, but I'm gonna sip it because
Yes.
that's the proper way.
Well, it should be in a rocks glass.
Well, it should. It should. Not a shot glass. I'll look stupid. No, go ahead.
Dear Lord, you high maintenance.
I'm becoming very high maintenance.
Well.
Not really.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Your life is so hard.
Yeah, it is. So
Well.
difficult.
He had to walk into another room
I know. To go get me a glass.
Oh.
He's probably gonna get one for himself.
in the house. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And while you're up, can you grab me a bubbly water out of there? I love it. Thanks, bartender.
Yeah.
You're the one closer, and I got hands on buttons over here.
bartender. Hey, look here. That used to be Trash Angels' close of the night song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Back a million years ago.
A million years ago. It does seem like a long time.
Ugh.
We'll talk about some of that too. Just while you're while you're fixing a drink, Jared, when you talked about the sock situation, he says, Nobody likes the taste of spray tan.
Oh my goodness.
It was right before. So this was, and Jared, you are correct. This was a group of guys going to an event in Austin. It was either in Austin or it was in Vegas. I can't remember, honestly. But it was an LGBTQ event. So
Okay.
you're right
So
on,
that's the
bro.
truth.
Right on. That is the
That
truth.
stuff does taste nasty.
What spray tan?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah.
It used to be so bad. It's gotten better, but it's still not amazing.
Yeah, there's like a...
You've tasted it on boobs before.
Oh yeah, I'm just saying.
There's a weird like iodine. It's plant based, but there's also just a weird like it's a sweetness that's not. I don't know. It's like aspartame mixed with something. There's
It
a
has
sweetness
like a-
of the plant, but I don't know. It's bad.
Like an aftertaste.
Yeah, I would when I used to spray it all the time. If you're breathing while you're talking to people, then I'd be like,
Yeah. Oh my gosh. I can imagine your nostrils if you were cleaning out your
totally.
nostrils.
Yeah, you
brown.
get it. Yeah. It was not good.
That's horrible. And then Jared also says, "Are you still enjoying your new location?" Which
I
we just
am.
talked about. So
Yeah. I've been there a year and a half now.
year and
so-
a half.
Right?
Goodness.
I know. It's like we blinked and
And 2020 was 2 years ago.
yeah. It's
Almost three.
today and somewhere off in Lord of the Rings,
Yeah.
Neverland. I
Like
don't
you
know.
said earlier, something like when COVID happened 2 or 10 years ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
it totally
I have
feels
no
like
idea.
that.
Yeah. My perception of time is already bad enough.
Yes, me too.
Like COVID did not help.
Yeah. I
It
can
did
say
not.
something was the other day, and it was
Yeah.
like 6 months ago.
Oh, I can
So
say
I was
that about
talking
high
to-
school. That's been over 20 years ago. And I'll say, yeah, well, like when that song came out and people were like, Tiffany, that's
That
old.
was-
And I'm like, it's not old.
It's
And they're
not
like, my child has already had another child. and I'm
True
like,
that. Yeah, I mean, when 9/11 just passed, of course. So Elvis was 2 months old. His son Elvis was
Oh,
2
wow.
months old when that happened. 2 months? Yeah. And he just turned 21. So when
Ah.
you go, oh shit, you know,
Yeah.
that's a long time ago.
We were talking before. I remember what I was wearing during that.
Yeah.
But it took me the longest time to figure out exactly what year that was. And
Do you mean you knew it was 2001, but you didn't know where that year was in your life?
like if somebody said, what year was that? I'm like, it was the year that I was wearing those blue wind pants and driving the teal Saturn. So, and my ex-husband was working at A.G. Edwards in Lebanon. I don't know, what year was that?
Yeah. Hilarious.
All of those things are true.
Oh, it's so funny that I'm the same exact way, because I'll be like, I'm actually 52. Wait, hang on. What happened to my 40s and my 30s and my 40s? What happened to them? They are gone, long gone.
Well, and some people say the music from the 80s is the same as music from the 40s
Right.
when you were in the 80s.
It's
Yeah.
crazy when you think about that. Yeah, it's just as long ago as the 40s were in the 80s. Oh, you can shut up.
That's true.
Yeah.
It's true.
Get off my lawn.
Yeah, exactly. It's time for that.
No kidding. Speaking of a minute ago, Trash Angels, of course, for especially some new Tiffany people that are just being introduced to her tonight.
Yeah.
You have done a significant fair amount of music in your life,
I have.
fronting the band Trash Angels. And you guys did that
Co-fronting.
Co-fronting.
Donnie's watching and he will.
forever. Oh yeah, he'll correct
he will
me.
have things to
He
say.
will correct you.
Be like, she wasn't the only singer.
Yeah.
Long live Jim Morrison. But anyway,
Oh, you're not wrong.
of course, co-fronting. That's actually the first time I ever saw you. And I'm getting two shows mixed up, but I think I know what I'm talking about. I think was over at the Flea. It's the Flea now.
Yeah. It was Harlow's then.
I think it was Harlow's.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still don't even know if I talked to you that night. I was probably real intimidated by you. But I
was
believe it or
very
not,
intimidating.
But no, I'm that way. I'm bad about it. But I think you were just playing there in the front window, and I might have been hanging out there with Chelsea or something, and I was like, well, what the hell? I think that was the first time I ever knew who Donnie was too.
Yeah.
Well, I
we
mean,
played there
pretty
the
much.
fourth Wednesday of every month for years.
Yeah, a long time.
And then you had like a residency at the Daily Pub too.
Yeah, we played there every Thursday for 4.5 years.
Yeah.
That's the other show that I was confusing, but I knew you when I saw her.
Which is now Carrie's.
I knew you when I saw her at the Daily Pub.
Yes.
Before they had torn the wall out.
Yes.
And it was still just the shotgun bar.
Yep.
But I know I saw her before I met you.
Yes.
So anyway, yeah, the Trash Angels, which...
But I want to go back into when I first met her.
well, yeah, you met her
And I know
before that.
exactly what year it was.
Oh, I don't know what year it was.
But I know what I was
still don't.
wearing.
I do. I know what she was wearing too.
She's told me what I was wearing before. Turtlenecks, of
Yep.
course. Absolutely. It was 2003 when you played Boondocks in Mount Vernon when I owned it. And that's the first time I met you. And Donnie as well, the whole band, actually.
Yeah.
I was not really... I didn't know the music scene very well because I was on the road all the time with my country band or the Statlers. So I didn't know Springfield musicians. So we just put out this open call for bands to play our place. And here comes this band with this really energetic singer. And I was like, oh my God, this is so much fun. You guys were awesome. And it was fun. And you were different and you... energy. The energy was good with the whole band, I thought.
Yeah.
With,
Yeah.
I think Doug was playing for you then.
Yes.
And maybe Eric?
So I think there was one time we played there where Eric was there, but there was a fill-in bass player, I believe the very first time we played there, and it was a friend of Doug's. I honestly don't remember the guy's name.
Okay.
I do remember that I was wearing maroon pleather pants, and I split my pants because you had that iron,
the rail?
Blues Brothers type of thing across the front of the stage. And I thought I was going to be real cool, and I flipped one leg over and the other, and then I was like, and my pants are split. And so Donnie did a song, co-fronting.
Co-fronting.
We'll let you split your pants. And I wore a lot of scarves back then, and so the bartender and I went in the bathroom. We duct taped my pants back together, and I put a scarf around my waist and went out and played the rest of the night.
Nice. See, that's what you do. That's what you do. You didn't cry and go home and go, I need to go change clothes.
Nope, duct tape and leather pants.
He duct taped his too when he split them.
Yeah, that's what you got to do, man.
Were you wearing panties?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Because we have had a story on our show where someone's skirt blew
that's
up
right.
and she was not
She
wearing
was
panties.
not wearing panties.
And that was on stage outdoors.
Yeah,
In front
with
of
children.
like one of those 4th of July shows.
Yeah. I
Yeah,
know.
lots of kids and grannies.
no.
No, I don't understand. I sweat all the time. No,
Right.
I got to have layers to
To take off. Yeah.
Absorbent layers.
Yeah. Sorry if that's TMI, but that's the truth.
Absorbent layers. I love
Yeah.
it.
So yeah, how did the Trash Angels come about?
So Donnie has been, and you've had him on your show before. So for those of you who don't know, you can go back and see episode number. Fill that in later.
25.
25. Oh, yeah. All right. So, yeah, Donnie had been playing forever. His parents were musicians. He was in a traveling casino band, and he decided that he wanted his own band. And he was looking at some poetry, and it was something about a trash can and angelic, and he decided on the name Trash Angels if he was ever going to have his own band. So this is the story I've been told. So I met him at a blues picnic out at Ritter Springs. And I also know what I was wearing that day. Sorry.
I can't remember what I wore last night.
I was wearing a purple suede vest that was also fluffy on the inside. Anyway, I got up and did a couple of songs, and he's like, hey, I've got a band and I'm kind of looking for, another singer. And turns out later he told me he was really looking for a piano player, but we ended up dating for 6 years. So that probably has something to do with why he wanted my phone number.
I'm looking for any position in a band.
Any position in the band.
Yeah, dude.
What can you do? Can you do tambourine?
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did. That's thanks to Steve Smith, though. Steve Smith and the Sneakers. I was their tambourine babe before I was ever in a band.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
Dave Painter played in that band. And,
That's cool.
That's good people.
But yeah, Donnie had that band. One of our first gigs was at, what was it called? I think it was called The Dip back then in Everton. I think that was my very first. I played with Uncivil Servants a little bit before that, Mike McPherson, and also Dave Painter, actually.
Nice.
Double mention there. Double points.
Double points.
Yeah, bonus points.
He shoots. He
Bonus
scores.
points.
Stars.
Cling, 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 cling,
Yeah. But yeah, so we played The Dip in Everton, and I was like, this is so cool, guys. I'm getting paid to sing.
Yeah.
And fast forward, it becomes a little different scenario. But yeah, we played together for 10 years. Trash Angels played regularly.
10 years.
Yeah, there were times where we played. I mean, it was a full-time thing. It was 10 nights in a row, 2 nights off, 7 nights in a row, 1 night off.
You guys were the workingest band in town for a
We
while.
kind of had a rep for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Monday
Yeah.
nights, isn't it? That's
man,
when live
they-
music,
they
though,
just
it was
played.
like played a lot more too.
Yeah.
I think full band live music.
And I was the only one in the band with a job a lot of the time.
So everybody
sorry
had to work.
guys, like
That's the truth.
it's the truth.
Yeah.
I had everybody in the band on my phone plan at one point, except I never had a bass player. Never had a bass player on my phone plan, but it was the only way that I could keep everybody's phone on. And so I had everybody in the band on my phone plan.
This sounds like a road band.
I'm
like
not
a full-on road band.
Yeah. But I was like, if you, it's the truth. Well, they couldn't, they
love
well,
it.
my phone's off, man. Like I didn't have to pay. I'm like, all right, Mama's going to put you on her phone bill.
The youngest member of the band is going to put you on her phone plan.
Yeah, I was. You are not wrong. Except for when Landon was in the band, he was younger, but that is the only. And Dave,
Landon
technically,
Rolfe?
yeah,
Okay.
he was in there for a little bit, and he had his because he was a bass player, so he had his own phone.
Didn't he work? Didn't he work?
He
for
worked
me
for
a
us
while?
at the shop
Oh,
for a
yeah.
while.
Yeah.
Till he almost cut off his thumb.
Yeah, that's not good.
It was not a good thing. It was his
Anyway, yeah.
thumb.
But yeah, we recorded in Atlanta. There's some stuff on Spotify if you look it up. From
I just listened to it like just a couple weeks ago. You guys actually have an original record on Spotify.
we do.
And that's what I liked about you too, of course, because, everybody knows I am an original music slut. I
Yeah.
love it very
Yeah.
much. And I love when people have the guts to do it. And even sometimes I don't care if it's bad.
Yeah.
Like I will listen
Just
to
play it.
I will listen to horrible original music if I know it's original.
I just snorted.
You did
I
snort.
totally did.
We will highlight that and enhance it.
I will tell you that. So there's a song that is not on any platform that I know of. We have it recorded, but I don't think it's out on any platforms. And it's one that I wrote, and I wrote the music to it too. And it was this da 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 da, and it was like this kind of funk kind of thing. So my dad heard it at one point, and he goes, "Yeah, it's like Woody Woodpecker song."
Thanks, Pops.
Thanks, Dad.
Thanks.
That's what we were going for.
Yeah,
Totally.
So that's so yes, they're not all tens.
I love it.
That's okay.
I love that song. It was called "Let Go" is what that song was called. I don't know if it's out there, but yeah, a lot of songs that Donnie and I wrote. There were some that were like "Liberated Woman." We sat down on my couch one night.
That's a good one. I like that one.
And, yeah, and he just started playing, and I still. So Donnie also knows that we're doing this, and I told him like I'm gonna need you to like comment
Hopefully
if I
chime
get
in.
if my
Yeah.
memory is wrong. We were drinking either bourbon or tequila that night, and on my couch, and we wrote that song just straight through. And it's still one of my favorite songs to this day. So yeah, there's some great stuff we wrote. There's stuff that takes longer. I mean, you know how it is.
Yeah.
So some
It's
stuff
wild
is,
that
yeah.
I've got a few songs I was involved in that went the exact same way. And sometimes you feel like you have to labor over it, and you have to make sure everything's perfect, and you have to make sure it's the right lyrics and the right melody. And there's people who just obsess over that. Like
Yeah,
that's me.
probably my son Elvis. My son Elvis is probably one of them. I mean, he's getting ready to finish like a 7-song EP, and he just texted me a week ago and said, "I don't think I like anything on it, and I'm probably just going to not release it and not do
Yeah.
anything." I was like, "Damn it. He won't let me hear anything in the process."
That's Donnie. That's
Yeah.
Donnie will write a song that it's one song, but it has like 7 movements in it, and I'm
Yeah.
like, man, like, and I'm like, I got a story to tell.
Yeah. So I got to get it over in
I
3.5
gotta get this
minutes.
shit out of my head.
Right.
Okay, there we go, done.
Yeah.
But he will sit down with a purpose and and it's got to be a big, there's a rise and a fall, and I'm like,
Sure.
I was like, I got an idea, and okay, I'm out.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
So-
And there's certainly nothing wrong with, there's been wonderful songs that have taken 2 years to write.
Sure.
But there's also been just incredible, especially personally, incredible stuff I feel very, very proud of that literally wrote itself in about 15 minutes, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
It was interesting. We had John Dillon actually on our show from the Ozark Mountain Daredevils. And If You Want to Get to Heaven he said wrote like that. He said
Episode 44 of the audio.
Yeah. Steve Cash brought him lyrics, and he went to his house sitting around the coffee table and started playing a little riff. And the thing just sang out. And he said it hasn't, the recording, everything about it hasn't changed since that day they sat at the coffee table. The arrangement, everything. He's like, it just came out almost in a first playing, and it's been that way ever since. I'm like, what the hell?
Damn it.
What are you talking about? But I totally know what you're saying there.
Yeah, yeah.
It's awesome.
One of the other highly requested songs that we had from Trash Angels from my side of things was Mirror. And that was one that I wrote in a couple of minutes, like dinking it out on the keyboard. And I was like, okay, well, there's that song. And I was pissed off and I wrote that song. And that song means more to me today. The lyrics do. I go back and the first time I went back to like try to sing it for an event recently, I was like, whew, like I started crying listening to it again. I was like, man, girl, you didn't know what you were writing 15 years ago, but
yes.
it means a lot.
That's great.
I've also found sometimes I've written songs that like I consciously like it was a concerted. I was consciously writing it for someone else's perspective. I remember thinking that, feeling it, whatever, and have gone back a couple of years like, oh,
No, I wasn't.
I was somehow just saying all the shit that I'm going through, but I, for some reason, was telling myself that, you know, I'm writing this because I don't feel this way, but this is a way certain people feel. And then going back and listening to it, I'm like, oh shit, that is exactly how I was feeling.
Yeah.
I just wasn't being honest with myself, you know? Those are fun.
Yeah.
Those are actually fun.
Takes a long time to get honest with yourself.
Oh my God.
Took me about 48 years.
Yeah. Me too.
I'm at 41 and yeah.
You
at
got
least-
there? You got to the
least-
finish line quicker
At
than I
least
did.
44, 45 years,
Yeah.
something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
this. Yes. So I just want to bump over here to the comments real quick. Brian Betancourt says, "Sup, peoples?" And Joshua Poole says, "I filled in for the Trash Easels once." And then I'm going to come back to this one from Jared. He's got a couple of questions, but I want to keep going down the Trash Angels road for a second because I believe there might be a little show and tell about the Trash Angels that you wanted to maybe show and tell.
Okay, so a couple of things. One, you were talking about the, you know, how much we worked. And we worked.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was a time in, it would have been really great if I would have put a marker on that, wouldn't it? That would have been smart. Okay, so working band in,
Let's go to camera 4.
Camera 4. Okay,
There
we
it
go.
is.
So there's Guitar Edge magazine. Sorry, there we go. Guitar Edge magazine with Yngwie Malmsteen on the front. Oop, there we go. I'm gonna.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll get it right eventually. And here's Trash Angels.
Big article.
So
Full page article.
Yeah, this guy out of Chicago contacts us, and I think it was something maybe through Reverb Nation that he found us. I can't remember back then, MySpace or Reverb Nation, a million years ago. And so yeah, Trash Angels. That's us there in the middle. If
That's
you
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
The orange stripe. There you go. A select set list is there too.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
Okay, yeah, I'm not going to try to keep doing that in the mirror.
Right, it's hard to do.
But yeah, we so that was really cool. We were written up. That was I think 20. That was the March-April issue of the 2009
Wow.
Guitar Edge magazine.
Nice.
And I thought this was pretty funny. So way back in the day, let me get my old voice on here real quick. So back when they had this thing called a fax machine, and you'd get one of these here.
One of these here.
Yeah.
Faxes.
So this is a
People would
fax
send it to
cover
you
sheet
over the
of
phone.
Over the fax. Look at that cover
Yeah.
sheet.
of a performance agreement when we played. It was called Bourbon Street Blues and Boogie Bar in Nashville.
In Nashville.
Yeah.
Oh, cool.
And I do want to note that we actually got paid. Here was the weird thing. So it was $900 a night that we got paid.
Wow.
And there's something in there. We got rooms with it. Where was the thing about? We had to include a saxophone player. Was the weird thing in the contract.
It was required.
It was required to have a horn player on stage,
hell?
and we didn't have one in the band, so we had to hire a local saxophone player for $100 a night
Oh my God.
and have
Local
him play.
to Nashville?
Yeah. Yeah, we sent him the originals beforehand, and like he set out half the songs,
Right.
but we had to have a horn player on stage.
Unbelievable.
So
Yeah,
random. I've
and then the
never heard
last
of
little
that.
bit was just an old school picture.
Oh man, look at that.
Look at that. Oh,
There you go. There you go. Right there.
is that straight hair?
Yeah,
Wow.
Is she on the right there?
Yeah, it's the only girl.
yeah. There's
Oh, I'm sitting ways away here.
Eric, you, Donnie, that's Doug, and then who is that?
It's Doug, Donnie, Tiffany, and Eric.
But the
right
far-
from left to right.
Tossie is the other one.
Tassie, that's what I thought.
Oh, there's another guy on the
Yeah,
far
yeah,
left.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. I didn't see him.
Yeah. I had straight. So I've always had curly hair, but I used to straighten it because I was told I looked more professional.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I was 30 before I started really embracing my curly hair, and
I'm so jealous.
Yeah,
I love it.
Gen Z doesn't know the pain
No.
of being told you better change something about yourself to be
Yeah.
more
Oh, I
marketable.
remember I had when I was
they
selling
don't.
radio, I had a manager who said, "So that crazy hair," and I was like, "You mean my hair?" And just to put that in perspective, like I'm white, so like this is a thing that I don't have a whole lot of room to complain about when I'm a white girl with curly hair. When
Right.
there are black people who have to deal with this all the time
Yeah.
in their natural hair.
Right.
But from my perspective, from my small experience, yes, I was told, yeah, like
Your crazy hair.
your crazy hair,
Oh
and
my
I was
God.
like, you mean my
My
curly
My
hair?
natural
My hair?
hair? Like just my hair?
Yeah, and he's like, yeah, well, it looks a lot better, like it looks more professional when you straighten it. And I
does
was
it?
like,
What type of profession? Like when everybody says that, like what do you mean?
right,
Professional. You need to look professional.
mean-
what profession?
Yeah. We will say, like, my hair is a lot.
It's a lot. It's great.
Yeah,
I freaking
like, if we
love it.
Just
Yeah.
let's take these off.
Let's go
for a
with that
second.
for a
Yeah,
second.
it is.
It's yeah, that's yes. And this is all you.
Yeah,
that's not a perm.
That's all me. No,
What's
it's
your
so
actual
jealous.
color?
white.
Is
Is it really?
Yeah.
Are you white-headed?
Is it this
Yeah.
white?
Yeah, so my mom and my grandmother on my
Nice.
maternal side are like 70%, or I'm sorry, they are white, stark white, no gray, it's white. I am now 70% white. So I'm doing this for a while, and we'll see. I'd like to hit 50 maybe before I start
Right,
transitioning.
right.
We'll see.
I was 49.
Yeah.
She was 49.
I was 49 and I finally let it just go natural.
Yeah.
And it's mostly white. I have a little dark gray under here.
Yeah.
And some kind of in here, but it's mostly white.
Yeah.
And it's super fun. You can always put color in it too and wash out colors.
Right. And that's Nigel does my hair, Nigel at Wallace and Ray, and he there was one point where I was like, maybe I want to go purple now after I've been black and red for,
A long time.
Wow.
15 years or so.
Yeah.
And he's like, Tiffany, that's not happening. Like, it's the red, like everything that we use. He's like, you can, but it's like, it's not going to go well. And I was like, all
Right.
right, well,
Right.
it's black and red until I go
Yeah.
white.
Yeah.
I mean, I couldn't just wash, like I had super long hair before I let this grow out and then it was down to here. You remember seeing me one time and it was down to here, but then the rest was black. Mm-hmm. It was like, I
It
had
was
to,
your worst look ever.
It was the
But
worst.
we had a plan.
but it was a plan.
It
I
is.
wore a lot of hats. Every time I went out, I wore a lot of hats. And sometimes people caught me with the half and half look and like, oh, that's cool. I'm like, no, it's not. It's not cool at all.
And see, that's
I'm
the
doing this on
process.
purpose.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
And especially when your hair is this curly, like I don't want to straighten it all the time. I don't want my hair like
Yeah.
I'm gonna look like Sideshow Bob half the time until I figure this out. So I don't know. Like
Yeah.
it'll be a process. At
So
some
then I
point.
just cut it all off.
yeah.
When it reached about here to where I could have bangs, like swoopy bangs,
Yeah, you went pixie
I
look,
went pixie,
Yeah.
all pixied out. But I've
which
let it
you
grow
were
since
scared
then.
to death
I was
to do.
chicken shit. I've never had
And you
short
actually
hair.
looked cute as hell with it.
It was really a cute haircut. And then as it grew, I got a little more punky with it. And then as it grew even more, I was like, oh God, now it's in that weird stage.
Yeah.
But now it's long and just stupid.
Ryan did your first cut.
Ryan
Ryan
Boyle.
Boyle.
Yes, he did.
He's a great hair dude.
And it was fantastic. There's a video on our Taniel channel of me getting that haircut. It's a Taniel YouTube channel if you want to check that silly video out.
I
was
figure I may just
nervous.
like shave mine all the way off when I'm trying.
Which would be fun, right?
When it's the time to do it, I may just be like,
Yeah,
That would be fun.
yeah.
that'd be kind of your style.
It would be awesome.
We'll see.
In general.
Sinead
But don't
O'Connor
tell
that shit.
anybody. Don't tell anybody. I mean, other than just what you said right now.
Yeah,
But
I'd
don't-
probably just like go live on Facebook and be like, I'll start singing Sinead O'Connor and
That's
just,
it.
It's
And then tear up a picture of the Pope.
7 hours and 15 days.
Since you took your love away.
Nice.
Yeah, the Prince Rosie Gaines version is, a little partial, but it's okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I like the Chris Cornell version.
Chris
Cornell.
Cornell was
yeah.
pretty good too.
Yeah.
I like Chris Cornell's version of anything, though.
Oh, well, yeah.
Well,
I'm
we
just
can
a fan.
backtrack a little bit
All right.
while we're on the subject. Jared says he's got some generic as fuck questions for you.
Okay.
Your favorite and your least favorite song to perform.
We'll start there. We'll bring that back
man.
up
Okay.
in a second.
So actually, speaking of Nothing Compares to You, it is a song that I have always wanted to do. And it was one that Donnie wasn't really into the guitar changes on it. Like, we never did it. We actually worked it up when Russ was in Out of Eden, when we were in a band together.
Yeah.
in a galaxy far, far away. We worked it up in practices, and we never did it live.
Oh.
And
Just so you could sing it?
Yeah, yeah. And I've sung it in Russ's basement a couple of times at practices.
Did the band just agree that it wasn't coming off good?
It
or
was one
did
of
it
those
not
things
fit your
where,
set list?
like,
Or?
we'd hit it in the set list, and I'd be like, okay, and they're like, no, we're not feeling it. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay. I'm like,
But I wanna.
yeah, yeah. So that is one of my favorite songs. I just think it's a beautiful song.
Yeah.
But oh man, favorite songs to sing. There have been so many of them, and there have been so many different genres that I've been able to play with. So, Trash Angels was Americana rock, and so the originals there, we got a lot of requests for Liberated Woman, which was a super fun, big song to sing. Drive Me to Drink, which was one written on a napkin with a friend at lunch.
Nice.
Yeah, and Mirror, which was a very heartfelt. So those as far as originals, and then getting into the cover band stuff more. I said to Russ one time, when Russ and I met at lunch at Jim's to have a very business lunch about if we wanted to be in a band together.
Oh, nice.
Right.
That's
With Monty
Russ's,
Lortz.
That's Russ's style.
Yeah, with
Totally.
Monty Lawrence. He introduced us. I said, I would consider myself a good singer if I could ever sing Dream On, but that's out there. We're not doing that. Well, Russ put that in his pocket, and we ended up doing that. And he would always, because he was so good at hitting those high notes, he was like, don't worry about it. I'll just hit the high notes on top of you. And then, okay. And then when we were doing it in practice, I was able to hit them. And so there was one night we were at Galloway Station, and that expletive person, as he's supposed to be hitting the high notes, backs away from the microphone
Oh!
and looks at me and does that, like, knowing you've got this. And I'm looking back at him like, I do not got this. And he's like, you got this. And I'm like, I do not. And then I went over and I Dream On, and I hit it, and I was like, ah! And I was like, oh, well, that came out.
I did have it.
Yeah.
Yes.
So that is probably my, like, all-time, oh my God, I did that.
Damn.
That's cool.
And least favorite is when people are like, you sound just like Janis Joplin. And I'm like, that's not a compliment.
Just so you
No,
know.
we're saying that here. Kids, it's true. It's not a compliment.
Yeah. Like, I love her energy.
Yes.
She is amazing.
Her soul, her
Oh,
energy.
That is that.
As a
Yes.
performer.
And I think you feel me on this. So there's a couple of singers that, like, they were who they are, but when you try to mimic them, it never comes out. Like,
Macy
Yeah.
Gray.
yeah. Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Don't.
yeah.
Okay.
Just don't.
Cher, Stevie Nicks, Janis Joplin.
Mm-hmm.
Like, any of those where people are like, you sound just like, and I'm like, that's not a compliment.
No, I don't.
Good,
Really?
yeah.
Yeah, like,
You
that's
sound
not-
just like Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
I mean, really?
Yes, yeah.
Going ahead.
God, do you have emphysema?
It's like we're going to hurl at any moment.
Yeah, no. That's like the opposite of, that's like what we just did is like ASMR, like relaxation.
Yeah, the opposite.
But for like the very opposite, where
Right.
it's like
for the rock
yeah,
people.
yeah.
For the it's ASMR for like what is the kids that wear all the black? What is that called?
Emo.
Emo.
Yeah.
It's ASMR for the emo
yeah,
kids.
it was something like that. It was something like that. But yeah, so those are my least favorite when people are like, oh, yeah. And not to say I will Oh God, what is the Janis Joplin song that's not Bobby McGee, but
Piece of My Heart?
Yes. And
Yes.
I have won some competitions off that. I won at Ernie Biggs one year. I won.
Nice.
Yeah. But I didn't win the Vegas trip. They gave me $500 though cash, and that was fine. But yeah, so I mean, there are things that I've enjoyed, but as far as like least favorite is that kind of thing when people are.
Yeah.
When it's just that you sound like so and so.
Yeah. And Russ and I did go round and round on that. And Russ is probably, because he even looked it up after he had said, he's like, but she was good. Like her range was this. And I was like, it's still like, it's not what I'm aspiring to be. You know? Like, it's not.
I can sound like her, but I don't want to.
Yeah.
There's a second part to that question.
I think we answered all
of it?
Oh, did we?
Yeah, because he also said a song you miss performing, a song you wish you could perform, but for whatever reason you haven't.
Well,
we
okay.
kind of
Well,
answered
yeah.
Whatever.
that.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Inadvertently.
I miss, there are things that I miss about performing. I miss the high of it. I miss the, the being able to just like let it all out. And there was a time, when in between Trash Angels and Russ, and in between Russ and then John Anno coming in with Ashes of Eden, there were some times where I didn't know how to get my emotions out if I wasn't on stage. And it was a very...
I remember that time.
Yeah, it was not a good time.
We had a conversation in this very studio.
Yeah. I was not a happy person, and I have since then learned some different coping skills. It's really cool. Meditation helps, but
Just putting it out there.
Hashtag meditation.
hashtag meditation, Headspace app. Yeah, I mean, not kidding.
Call Solace Body Solution.
Yeah. But yeah, well, there were times where I didn't have another way to let those things out, and now, especially with COVID, like we went and we did a lot. Lacoma, one of my best friends, Lacoma Jefferson,
Hell of a
Bass.
singer herself.
Yes. We'll go and we'll do karaoke together, which is so funny because I used to be like, karaoke. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
right?
Who does karaoke?
I'm a real singer.
Right.
I'm a professional.
Yeah.
I don't do karaoke.
Right.
Yes,
Like,
I used to be that way too.
yeah. And
now
I'm
I
like,
host.
you know what? Yeah. And it's so much fun.
It is
Yeah.
so fun.
And there's a community in it.
Yes.
There really is. And
Yeah.
there are people that are terrible.
Oh, of course. Yes.
But they are having fun.
yes.
And why would you be mad at somebody who's having fun?
The
Why would
energy
you
is so good.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I love that about it. And that's what we did a lot of. And
after
there
the
were-
band was like.
well, actually during COVID.
During COVID, okay.
Yeah. So we would go to the Mix, actually. The Mix, it's a gay bar.
Oh, okay.
But they happen to know a thing or two about preventative measures during an epidemic. So
Crazy, right?
they were okay with using protection on the microphones, and so they were mic condoms.
Right.
Nice.
Quite literally, I have a couple in my purse still.
Right.
And so we had mic condoms that we would use at karaoke, and it was great. And we would go and we'd sing karaoke, and it was super fun. And there was a community around that, and we got to go and build it out and get all those things out and like try something new. And we would do Coma and I do something called kamikaze karaoke.
That's see, you. I coined that phrase at the Boondocks.
Oh!
So back in the Boondocks days, when I had karaoke on Thursday nights, I would say, because people were like, "Oh, I'm intimidated to sing after you," and I'm like, "No, that's not what this is about." So I said, "Okay, you guys pick my songs," and then I came
Yeah.
up with the name Kamikaze Karaoke.
Yeah.
Okay.
I totally called it that. And one time I was stumped back then. I've been stumped 4 times over here.
At Marty's,
But
yeah.
I was stumped because they picked a Nirvana song. I had no fucking clue.
Well, no, you didn't back then.
No. In 2003, I was all country all the time.
With your blue turtleneck with
my
the white
little
fringe.
She remembers what I was
Don't
wearing,
think
but
I-
I
yeah.
don't. But it totally, the one time I was really stumped, because if I've at least heard it, I'll try to butcher it. Like,
Yeah.
if I've at least heard the song. And sometimes now, if somebody calls a song off and they want me to do, they'll pay me $5-10 or whatever. I'll put the phone up to my ear while somebody's
Yeah.
singing. I'll be like, all right.
Yeah.
So
I
I
get
did
the
that.
gist.
Julia did that. She paid me
Yeah.
for some kamikaze karaoke, and I totally butchered one of them, and I got halfway through the
Yeah.
other one okay.
That's kind of the point.
Donnie and I used to do that at the end of some Trash Angels gigs. We would do that at the very
That's
end. We were
fun.
like, all right, it's just family here now.
Let's just try it.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so I will tell you, Coma, if you're watching this, we will come out and we will do kamikaze karaoke
I love it.
with you.
Yeah.
Love it.
that'd
We
be
need
fun.
to do that. I would love to hear her sing again. I haven't heard her sing in ages.
Yeah, she's actually she's going to be on the mystery hour tomorrow night.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
Does
she
that air live or does it get recorded?
So I think both, like, it's changed now since they're
Yeah.
not doing it at the Galois. It's going to be at La Habana Vieja, which is also one of my favorite restaurants, just so you know.
What in the hell did you just say?
La Habana Vieja?
So we thought we knew all the restaurants in town.
No, it's a Cuban restaurant
Okay.
on C Street.
Oh, yeah,
It
yeah,
is-
yeah. I have been there.
Yeah.
For
So-
sure. I've been there. I just didn't know what it was called.
Yeah,
Wait a minute.
yeah.
It was
I've
the
actually
Cuban
been
restaurant.
there.
Yeah, I'm kind of family there. Like I'm there a lot.
Yeah.
So yeah, so Heidi and Freddie Flores, the owner, they are awesome. Heidi is from Cuba, and so it is authentic.
The food was
there's-
great.
Yeah. There's oxtail. There's there's some. I realize that we're talking about some other stuff, but
That's
No,
okay.
feel free.
yeah,
That's what it's all
but
about.
It was one of my favorites. They have some Latin nights where they'll have dancing. It's amazing and wonderful. And yeah, so Jeff is doing his mystery hour there
Oh, how fun.
tomorrow night, and Coma's going to be one of the guests.
Oh, that's
Oh, very
fantastic.
cool.
So it
Yeah.
will air at some point? Probably.
I think so. I know that they are
Or
sold
they
out for
strictly
tickets,
doing it live?
but
Right.
I think there's both. I'm sure that
we
they
can
record.
Google it.
There's no way. Like
We can Google.
everybody records their shows for later viewing.
That's right.
Right, Unsung Screamer.
That's
That is
right.
correct.
Jared probably knows since he's trying to be like him. Come on, that was a joke.
Oh no.
There's
I'm just
Donnie.
kidding.
There's Donnie.
What did
He's
he say?
here. Ah, yes, I remember karaoke at Dennis's place one night.
Oh God.
Nice. There he is. There's some other comments too. I wanna get to this.
Between Donnie and I, we have a really good memory of the things that happened. And it's, we've talked a little bit about, like, I'll remember that we were 7 minutes late. I'll remember what we were wearing to everything. And Donnie, and I will not remember National Act, Knuckleheads. And right now, and Donnie, I type this because I have no idea, and you can tell him. He's told me before, National Act that we opened for, not a clue to this day. And he has to be like, Tiffany. We opened. I remember that.
And you still can't remember it right now.
No, I can't remember it right now. We stayed in a microtel.
She remembers the hotel.
I remember
what
the
she
microtel.
wore.
I remember that I was wearing the skull dress. I remember that Doug was wearing. I mean, Doug wore his hat a lot. Donnie was wearing his, like, kind of this, like, weird pinkish bluish, like, shirt that he still has, I'm sure. And we were 7 minutes late, and we got there. I couldn't find the directions because this is before an iPhone. And got there, and Doug hadn't sound checked his drums yet, and I was like, "You could have been sound checking when I was late." Those are the things I remember.
But you don't remember who the National Act was.
Nope. But I'm sure
Okay.
Donnie will tell
Well, I
us
hope
in
he
any
hope he
minute.
chimes in here.
Yep.
Jared says before about your remark about trying to be like Jeff.
He said, "Well played, Dan."
Haha, you wrong,
You wrong, but well played.
but well played. So
I said I was
I
joking.
know you're always just joking.
Jared is just Jared, and he is amazing at
Yes.
everything.
I love Jared.
Guns
So
N' Roses
going-
tribute.
Guns N' Roses. Going back, way back in the comments to about, I don't know, an hour ago almost. No, not really. 40 minutes ago. He goes, and can we get the Tippy Monroe
Yeah.
origin story?
Yeah, we can actually. So Donnie's son, Memphis. When Donnie and I got together, Memphis was 2, I believe. And he couldn't say Tiffany. So when I met him, he called me Tippy. And my brother and sister, who were quite a bit younger than me, would call me TT, and Memphis called me Tippy. And so my friend Lori, who was actually who I was with the day that I wrote Drive Me to Drink, we would have lunch a lot, and we made up names for each other. And so she stuck Monroe on the end of it. And so I was Tippy Monroe.
Okay.
And that is where Tippy Monroe comes from.
Now, is this
So-
a drunken alter ego?
It was
name?
my drunken alter ego
Okay.
for a long time. She has not been out in a long time. She's not really a...
Tippy's in a nursing home.
Yeah, she is. She's on live sports somewhere. Yeah, we don't let her out any much. She spends a lot of money.
Right.
Oh my God.
Right.
She spends a lot of money. Then I got to check on her the next day and be like, "What'd you say? What'd you do?" Like, yeah. So,
We
she's
haven't
not
seen
really
Tequila Jared in a long time.
We have
either.
not. We've tried, but he stopped
I
at
think
one
they're
shot.
all. Yeah, I think a lot of them are exiting to the.
you know, it's
All of
different
us.
when, like, so way back 15 years ago, working at Clear Channel at the radio station when Trash Angels was playing every night of the week. You know, I wouldn't get home till 2 a.m, 3, whatever, and I had to be at work at 8.
Oh, geez.
And so I would wear, when I didn't straighten my hair, I would wear chopsticks in my hair a lot. And my coworkers called it hangover hair because they knew that it meant that I washed my hair, but that it was in chopsticks because like I wasn't going to flip it over to dry it. So, back then it was a whole different thing. Now that like, I remember telling my friends when I was like 25, I was like, I just don't get hangovers. And they're like, no, that's because you're in your 20s.
That's because you're 20-something.
Yeah, and I was like, no, like I think it's genetic. I just think it's a thing.
just
like
don't
I just
get
think I
hungover.
don't get it. And they're like, yeah, wait. And I remember turning 30, and I was like, oh, it's real.
Yeah.
And then all the things they said about like comfortable shoes. I was like, oh man, like you guys weren't kidding. This is all real. So now when my friends who are like 21 years older than me say something, they're like, you know, when you started feeling it, I'm like, hold on, slow down. I got to take notes. Like what?
Right.
Yeah,
what's
yeah.
happening?
You actually listen now. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna need readers in my car.
You're going to need readers
gonna
everywhere.
yeah.
Yes, everywhere. Nightstand, car, everywhere. So you don't have to hook them on your shirt.
Bathroom, kitchen,
Next
next to the cookbook.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of
In
it.
your back pocket. You just need readers all the time. That's
Yeah.
what I'm 11 years older. So yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a thing.
So listen to us old ladies.
Oh, gosh.
Listen to us old ladies. So I want to come back here and say hello to Cheryl. Cheryl says, damn it, I almost missed it all, but you're here now. So that's what matters. What's Mike saying? I always wanted to straighten my curly hair so it would look longer. He has
Yeah.
crazy curly hair too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's about the
When
same
you
as
pull
hers.
it out, like it goes, you
Yeah.
know, it goes down quite a
Exactly.
bit, which I've got it kind of stacked in the back now.
Because when he grew his out, he's got several pictures. We had him on the show, and he has several pictures where he grew it out long, but it was still wide. It wasn't long; it was wide.
It wouldn't lay down.
It just kept.
He talked about it not laying down.
Yeah, it's just like it doesn't lay down. And Julia said it before, and I will always say it always. Karaoke is for everyone. I totally agree. And she says also, I had a lot of fun trying kamikaze karaoke. I really want to try it again to see if I end up crashing and burning.
Julia
Dude,
did great at kamikaze
she
karaoke.
did. I challenged her. She came out
What
and sang.
song did you give her?
Well,
I forgot.
I can't remember. It was like a country song.
She might remember.
I didn't think she was a country buff, so I was like, I'm going to throw her.
She actually did a hell of a job.
And she freaking killed it. She killed it.
That's when kamikaze karaoke's fun. When the person, even if they kind of know the song, you don't have to like blatantly not know the song.
Right. Well, when I
but
did
it's just
mine,
a song that you just didn't.
now what I'll
probably
do
haven't sang.
is they tell me what the song is. But when I did kamikaze karaoke at the Boondocks, I totally didn't even know what song I was singing until it started. They just, Tara, you're up. Okay. Here we go.
yeah.
Oh.
Now, 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 now. Come as you are.
Something.
Come as you are.
Yeah, exactly. Come as you are. I mean, I didn't know it at all. It might have been that song too. I have no idea. But
There's
that's-
a whole lot of songs that I missed out on because I was raised so religious, and so and I know you can relate. So there was a lot of songs that
I can relate.
He can
She
relate. I
can.
can't.
Oh, okay.
I was
yeah.
I was not religious.
Oh, okay.
No,
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, you sang some. You sang in a.
what?
Didn't you sing in a traveling like like gospel?
Well, when I was very, very young in college, I did about 3 months with 2 other girls, and we called ourselves Youth in Service. And I had no idea what these songs were about. But these 2 girls were raised super Pentecostal and all this. And I was like, we were all vocal majors. So it was like, okay, let's sing together. And we all took parts. Like I could do all the parts. So I
Yeah.
took the alto, the low part. And so, yeah, it was all Christian music. It was all Sandy Patty.
Why
and shit
are we
like that.
singing Jesus Come Inside Me?
And like, I don't understand what this means. So I did do that, but I was never religious at all.
Why do I have it in my mind that you sang with the Gaither brothers?
No,
or
I
something?
toured with the Statler brothers.
Okay.
But that's not all Christian.
Just as they're opening up.
I sang
Yeah.
an original or 2, but then mostly just covers, country covers. So
Okay.
yeah, but it was
But
not.
I can definitely
yeah,
relate to what you're
Yeah,
doing.
so there's so
100.
many things that I missed out on. So my friends will be like, "Oh, you know, I mean, like even for years in the band,
Yeah.
and they'd be like, "Well, you know this song," and I'm like, "Who's that?" And they're like, "It's Led Zeppelin, Tiffany." And I'm like, "Okay."
I never, ever listened to 80s
sound heavy.
rock. Yeah. 80s rock or 80s heavy metal. So just the fact that I was in Machine Gun was just hilarious because I didn't know any of those songs when I was in that
Didn't
band.
know the whole shtick.
That's why everyone gives me so much shit about knowing the lyrics. I was like, I didn't listen to this shit.
Yeah.
I was into Petra, man.
Right.
Yeah.
DC
Petra,
Talk.
yeah. I mean, they came to, I think it was like Petra and Jars of Clay came to my, or PFR, I think it was. Like,
Right.
Jars of Clay came to my high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. My dad ran sound for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pray for rain for those of you.
Pray
who-
for
Oh,
rain.
sorry. Yeah.
So-
So, for those of you who aren't in the know about 90s Christian music.
What year was that? What year was it?
I don't know. I was in high school, so
Oh,
it
I
had to be.
forgot.
She
I'm
was
asking
wearing a
you
red
what
shirt.
year. But it was a red shirt and there were white
No,
pants.
it was a purple shirt.
Oh, she
actually.
did.
It was
a purple-
probably, it was,
You
I
remember
can
when
tell
the
you,
like
it was
the
probably
long john shirts
95
were
or
in?
6. Yeah.
It probably was because I
Yeah.
graduated in '99. So
Yeah, yeah.
So that's when he was touring and stuff.
Because
like
that's
that.
when
yeah,
Jars of
I know
Clay
because I
started
used to
putting
listen
it
to
up.
you. I knew who Johnny Q. Public was.
I love it. I freaking love it. It was Stand By Your Man, Jared says, that I challenged Julia.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. That's correct.
I thought, because I knew she has a good
Stand
range.
By Your Man.
I knew she could cover it if she at least knew it. And she freaking
Oh, yeah,
killed
because
it.
that like yeah.
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 So, but I was like, I don't know if she'll know this old country song. And she's like, she just walked up there like a boss and just took it over. It was
Yeah.
hilarious.
I
But-
like some old country. My grandfather, step grandfather, would listen to a lot of George Jones and that kind of stuff. And so I liked that. I like the old stuff, but I don't like a lot of the fake put on like.
Yeah.
And I know everybody loves Keith Urban, but I'm like this Australian guy doing the country accent. Like I don't understand it.
Well, the
So,
Beatles sounded American.
I also am not a Beatles fan.
Okay.
So I
you
mean,
follow suit.
yeah, I like She's So Heavy.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a lot of things that people are like, because when you're a musician, everybody assumes that you like the big you love Elvis, and I'm like, no. I despise Elvis, and I'm not a big Beatles fan, which
Right.
Donnie and I would butt heads on a lot. Donnie loves the melodic, and I enjoy the melody, but like, yeah,
The actual performance.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was like, it all
I've
kind
never-
of sounds the same.
I can totally appreciate the era that Elvis was, but I've never been an Elvis fan because I don't fangirl out necessarily. And that whole teen idol shit, all that stuff back then.
Yeah.
But I wasn't alive then either, so I can't relate to say my mother. But my mother was like, no, was never an Elvis fan.
Yeah.
And she lived through those years. So I'm with you on that. Like Elvis is great, he's cool, but my favorite stuff of Elvis it was his live shit that he messed up. I loved those kind of performances when you saw not mess up like bad, but when he was so into it or so tired or something like this. Those Elvis shows I like. But the standard like
Yeah.
I'm not into it at all.
I think so. I would, as a kid, watch Elvis movies on Disney.
Okay.
And I could watch that because a movie is fake.
Yeah.
But I think what I didn't like is that his entire persona, his entire music,
Seemed-
everything else is fake. Like he ripped
Yes.
off a lot of African American musicians, a couple in particular that have been posted, but he just ripped off other people and then used it and was like, I'm this guy.
So I got a question
Okay.
about that. I've
Okay.
heard this very much before, and it's an interesting argument / conversation. So I've ripped off Reba. I ripped off Shania. I ripped off Brandy Carlisle. Did I, or did they influence me? So did Elvis rip them off, or did he get influenced when he was growing up because he was surrounded by black people?
Okay. Do other people
What?
know who all the people that you just listed? Mm-hmm. Everybody knows who they are, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you're not usurping what they did. You're not going in and being like, well, everybody knows who I am. The problem is that Elvis became famous using things that were never his.
But what is ownership of art?
No, there's actual songs.
Oh,
Yeah.
Some of
okay.
his big songs were
See, I'm not an Elvis historian, so I don't know.
Yeah,
this shit.
and Donnie, if you want to help him, or Jen JX, if you want to help here. But yeah, like he actually a lot of his big hits, he was put on the songwriting rights, but he never did that.
Okay,
He didn't
that's
write 'em.
fair.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he didn't do any of that. And there are videos that, and I don't have it right now, but we can pull. I've posted it before. And if anybody wants to pull that up. But yeah, like he completely ripped off the movements, the sound, and everything of these people. There's a David Letterman interview in particular with one African American performer whose name I can't remember. And if
But you were wearing a gray sweater.
I was wearing a gray sweater when I watched. Actually, I do remember that I was driving down Walnut whenever I first looked at it. But anyway, but yeah, but it is an exact. He was a cover band.
Yeah.
He was a cover band of these people. And yet everybody's like, oh, it's Elvis and he did this. No, he didn't.
No.
He's no better than a cover band in Springfield, Missouri.
Fair.
But yet he is the one who people remember.
100%.
This is why I love this argument.
Because he was beautiful and he was white.
Yep. Especially
I went
back
to
then,
the. We keep cutting out, or is that just me?
No, you are. It's you.
I went to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a long time ago, probably back in '95 or '6. The reason why I'm making that reference is because they do not show this movie anymore, which I think is interesting. But it used to be that right when you got into the Hall of Fame, you had to actually go into this theater and watch this movie before you actually doors opened into the Hall of Fame. They don't do that anymore. I don't know why, but
now it's just a choice. You can actually still watch it.
no, it's not there
It's
at all.
not even there at all.
It's not there at all. And so, but the whole thing was showing all this old footage from the 20s and the 30s, and it's these black guys on the streets. They're just going, and it's cutting to all this crazy footage, and the sound is bad, and they're just singing, and they kind of, you start hearing the chugging starting to come in, the joon, and they're doing this, and the whole 10 minutes of this, it's just a montage of clip after clip after clip, and you can hear it getting a little more chuggy, you can hear it getting more kind of, the melodies were starting to kind of get
Clean
more
up and get
developed and
solid.
clean up and everything else. And the movie fades to black for a second. And then it comes on Elvis Presley, "You ain't nothing but a," and it was identical.
Yeah.
Identical. There was literal songs he performed that he did not write. They were
Fair.
written by those guys.
Right. Which is
So
most of
I'm-
90s country.
I'm all about what you're talking about there. I mean, and Garth Brooks is the modern day Elvis.
He's the modern day Elvis.
Yeah.
Doesn't write a shit and thing. He puts his name on
People
shit.
write his songs and then he's like, "What should we say if there instead
Yes,
of
Garth Brooks.
Yeah, and then it's like Garth.
I mean,
Brooks
I love
wrote it.
Garth, but yeah.
I'm just joking. That was a
I
horrible
didn't know
reference.
that about Garth.
Dude,
A little
look it
bit,
up.
a little bit. Like, should this song be about a girl instead of a boy? Okay, you wrote it.
Okay, I do have a funny
Co-wrote, but
Garth
Co-wrote,
Brooks
that's what
reference.
That's what I mean.
okay.
My step grandfather married my grandmother when I was like 2, and he invested. He bought contracts for performers. If you're listening, I'm doing a lot of finger quotes right now, and I guess this means that he would like buy in and then support the performer as they're going out, and then he gets a return
Like
on
artist
the investment.
development.
Yeah.
Fair.
Now I was like 12 or something. I don't know, maybe not even that old. I can't remember exactly because my time perception is non-existent. So I just remember being at their house one Christmas season, and he had just gotten back from my grandfather, Bill, had just gotten back from a Christmas party at, I think, Alan Jackson's house or something. He was affluent. And he was like, yeah, there was this guy there, and he's so full of himself, and he's got Garth Brooks. What kind of name is that? And I was like, yeah, Grandpa, like, don't give that guy money. And later my grandpa was like, that's one of the worst decisions I ever made.
Right?
Because of his name.
Right.
Yeah, but he was like,
imagine
Garth Brooks.
Imagine if he got in on that.
Oh my God.
At the beginning, yes. Yes,
Yeah.
for sure. We got tons of comments. First of all, I want to go. We talked about splitting pants. You split pants.
Yeah.
You split pants. I've split pants, but not drastically. I've just gone out with my zipper down in front of blue-haired, wonderful people. Jared just sent us a photo.
Yeah.
I was going to share this because he said this is a blowout during a Sunset Strip show one time. Look at that shit right there.
Ooh,
Is that out the
that's
butt?
a good one.
Out the butt cheek, the left butt cheek right there.
It looks like both sides.
Well, I only see the one. Let's go down here so you can see my See, I only see this one. Over here. This is a shadow, it looks like.
Yeah.
But over here is a shadow. I think this is
Fat
the
bottom
one.
boys make the rockin' world go round, Jared Isaacs.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, so I had to share that. I love it when people send pictures. No, Mike McCorda says, no, karaoke isn't for everyone. If you heard me sing, you would understand this. No, it is for everyone.
Yeah, and it gives people who we've all heard bad people sing.
We
but,
hear
like,
some of them in bands. I'm just saying.
Oh, yeah. I
They
have.
actually play music live.
Yeah.
But we won't go there.
Screamer Dreamer Medication said the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame presentation Dan is talking about was called Mystery Train. It draws all the direct lines between the songs.
This is our information gatherer, our historian, our researcher, if you will.
Yeah, we just say shit like, it was something like I don't know what year it was.
What year? And then
she comes and
pops
corrects us.
Yeah.
on.
Oh, I noticed that they also posted something about Hound Dog by
Yes.
Big Mama Thornton, and that's
Right
actually
here.
one that Trash Angels used to cover, and it is a different arrangement / mix. I'm honestly not sure what words you would use for the precise description of that, but yes, it is.
Big Mama Thornton. But then here's another one. It says originally done by Arthur Crudup.
Yep.
There you go. I did not know
Big
this.
shocker. Yeah, I would burden anyone with finding one Elvis song that you could prove
That was original.
was actually Elvis.
No, I feel you on that. Totally. I mean, when you think about it, though, listen, let's go from there and let's move forward with all the teen idols, all the
Yeah.
monkeys, all the and any kind of crazed
course,
band. The
of
Beatles
course.
were original, so we'll give them that.
Well, actually, the Beatles were a cover band to start
they
with.
were
though.
to
They
start.
were.
They were to start.
They
At
were
least
totally
they
a
wrote their
cover
shit.
band.
But I guess was any band ever like? Do you ever like just meet somebody and you're like
Instant
I'm
original
thinking
band?
of a song? Are you thinking of a song?
we kind of did that. Johnny Q. Public kind of did that.
Yeah.
We didn't start as a cover. We ended as a cover.
With Machine
Cover
Gun, yeah.
band, yeah. But no, Motley Crue was a cover band, I think.
I think
before-
everybody
or at
has.
least
You got to get your freaking teeth.
not Motley Crue, but
I was gonna say you got to get your teeth wet, your
Vince
feet wet.
Neil. He was a singer of a cover band.
Yeah. Most people were.
Yeah.
I would say.
I mean, it's not a bad thing, but yeah, the Beatles were 100% a cover band. That's all they did in the beginning. But they also were one of their favorite artists was like Little Richard or some shit. I mean, they were still very inspired by black music.
Yes.
The Beatles were.
yes.
I would say most
For
people
sure.
are.
Especially
Yeah,
back then.
most people are. It's
Well, yeah, we still are,
dominant as hell.
and it's just good.
But back in the 50s when Elvis was getting big, that was the biggest no-no ever.
Yeah. I'm just scanning the comments. I don't want to miss one or two, but there's Donnie. He says Otis Blackwell was the Letterman
Yes,
interview.
thank you, Donnie. Thank you. You are
See?
correct.
There's your own information medication right there.
Yeah.
Mike says, what does Mike say? If I wrote a song and Garth wants to put his name on it so I can make millions, I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
If you do, yeah, if you do.
A lot of
And
people
most
who
of them
did
were
it,
like,
that's
okay,
why.
we'll do that too.
Yeah, yeah. And now you do. That's the cool thing. And, now, if you're in that position, there are people who write those songs. Like, who was the girl All About That Bass? Who?
I know her name. I play
Yeah.
it almost every Saturday night.
Yeah, like she was a songwriter for
Right.
years.
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she was trying to sell that song,
Yeah.
and nobody would take it.
She's like,
so
"Oh,
they
fuck
were
it, I'll
like,
do it."
"Well, all right, you
Yeah.
know."
And
Like,
she
so
just
yeah,
did
there
it.
are a lot of people that make a lot of money off of selling songs.
Yes,
gosh,
for
yeah.
sure. I mean, there are so many, and I can't think of a list right now, but there are so many prominent solo artists right now that were songwriters. Chris Stapleton, he started as a songwriter. Like,
Yeah,
Rowan
well, and
Nelson
now it's
started
all
as a
listed.
and his
Like, if you
biggest
look
song
at-
is a cover. His biggest song is
Yeah,
a cover.
yeah.
Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Meghan
many
Trainor.
years.
Meghan
Yes,
Trainor.
thank you.
Yes. All about that bass. Jared and Julia said it, but she said it as herself, not the medication.
I'm on about
information.
that.
Oh,
bang.
she's
On
the
that
medication.
bang. On that bang.
Shh, I didn't say that.
Okay.
She's already been outed. She's already been outed.
Jared said Van Halen was a massive cover band
Yes.
at first. Yeah, man, it's not super uncommon.
No.
Yeah.
No, for sure. And that's okay. That's okay.
Yeah.
It's actually
Yeah.
okay.
No, it's
Because I
fine.
always talk about
Own it.
with anybody, even some karaoke people will be like, okay, so what advice do you have for me? Just like you did.
Yeah.
Why don't you tell me? Tell me what your advice is, Tara.
You were so young. And I was only 11 years older, but I had been there, done that kind of thing, you know?
Yes.
And, but people ask me things like, I just this cover, that cover. How do I find my voice? Well, you're going to be a conglomerate of your your favorite people. You like singing so and so, so and so and so and so, and so to find your voice. That's what I did anyway. Was to just not intentionally, but your voice just goes to a spot. You have a natural voice that's going to do something. But when your ear tells you, I want to sing it this way, it's usually because you're influenced by somebody or something. And whether it's Elvis completely stealing shit, or it's someone that puts 15 people together and becomes their voice, because you can hear that. Sometimes when you hear like your favorite singers like Pink, I don't know who her influences are, but she'll talk about that, and then you can go, oh, I totally hear that. When you hear this inflection or that inflection, you're like, oh, that's that person, and stuff like that. So being a cover singer, there's nothing wrong with that at all. I've been a cover singer my whole freaking life. But then finding your own voice to sing those cover songs your way, that's when cover singing becomes a bit of an art itself, because you can still make it familiar to people, but you're doing your thing. And that's where I went. When I discovered my voice, that's the route that I took. I've done a few originals, and our boot duo is mostly originals of his, a couple of mine. And so that helps find your voice for those original songs when you put all that cover stuff together and you learn who you are.
Yeah. Elvis is actually the godfather of cover bands.
Right, for sure.
And Johnny Cash is the godfather of original music.
Right?
And Great Balls of Fire, asshole. He's the cover of glam rock.
Right?
Done deal.
Nice.
They all started at the same place, same time, and that's who they really are the godfathers of. I don't know if
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Jerry Lee Lewis is the godfather of glam rock. There's no doubt about it. We have Sister Scissors because of Jerry Lee Lewis.
Scissor Sisters.
Scissor Sisters.
Scissor Sisters. You would call them glam rock?
Very glammy.
What?
Very glammy.
Who are you? No. What are you talking about? Potty break time?
Potty break time.
You want to just take a full-on potty break? Because I can do
That's
that
fine.
too. All
Yeah.
right. So we're going to put up a little screen and a little thingy
I'll leave
that
you
says
with a thought. Scissor Sisters.
Scissor Sisters. Go check them out.
We would have no Scissor Sisters without Jerry Lee Lewis.
We are only an hour and a half in, so
That's how my brain works.
we will be right back. But please Google Scissor Sisters.
There would be no Queen.
in the meantime.
There would be no Queen
Well, we're
without
going.
Jerry Lee Lewis.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah, Queen
right.
came from Jerry Lee Lewis.
Of course.
Led Zeppelin came from Johnny Cash. And fucking Members Only came from Elvis.
Oh, God.
Hello, my darling. Hello, my good German. Hello, my ragtime gal. So yeah, right before break, I was talking about the $1 Million Quartet, and I forgot Carl Perkins.
Right.
And I think he's just the godfather of country music.
Well, country picking anyway.
I know there was country music before Carl Perkins, so don't all flame me and shit. I'm just saying, like, you know, popularized, commercialized, you know, like pop culture country music.
Right.
Putting it in the limelight. So
Yes, I agree with that. Yes.
anyway, so
whoa. Some people might say Hank Williams was that, but okay.
yeah, but he wasn't part of the $1 Million.
No, you're just
No,
making
Hank Williams would have been happy to just sing next to a bonfire.
right, drinking whiskey.
And somebody decided to record him, but
Right.
Hank Williams was not really out to pursue a music career.
Yeah. Yeah.
He just was like, he would have been happy fishing and singing while he was
So
fishing.
then why did he keep doing it?
Well, because it turned into something. But I'm saying Carl Perkins is more like, who's the guy that commercialized football? CC DeVille?
No,
that's
that's
the guitar
Poison's
player
guitar
for Poison.
player.
But this guy was
Cecil DeVille? Is
Cecil,
that the same guy?
CC something else.
CC Pyle.
CC Pyle.
CC Pyle.
Yeah.
He's the guy that was. He's the one that the movie Leatherheads.
Yes.
The guy that, like, football used to just happen like on a field and a few people would come and watch it.
And now look at it.
And he's the guy that turned it into, like, why don't you endorse cigarettes as the quarterback of this football team? And he turned it into a money-making machine
Right.
instead of it just being a fun game.
Mm-hmm.
Yay, CTEs.
Yes. That's what Carl Perkins did to country music.
Gotcha. All right.
This is just my bullshit opinion.
I know.
I have no facts
the
to back
gist.
this up.
It's the gist.
If there's any fact checkers watching, you're gonna flame
You're
me.
gonna flame me. We're gonna get her up here in a second. She's probably gonna flame.
I'll go on a football tangent too.
So cool. Yeah, let's do that. But for now, I want to show this picture because Mike McWhorter said we said he had curly hair, and he sent us a picture. There it is, right there. This is right here. Right. Look at that.
Yeah,
Look at that
man.
stuff.
That's him up
And
front.
this right here is Steve Mason.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, with his
that looks
porn
about right.
stash.
Yeah.
Right.
Why is that coming back?
I don't know.
I don't know. It's
know.
every mullets are back.
Yeah.
Mullets are back, and porn stash
And
is
I
back.
have seen people like legit, like men in their 20s wearing a porn stash, and I'm like, do you know? Do you know?
Do you know what you look like?
Yeah. I'm like, there's no, like, no, it's bad. Stop
If
it.
Jared is still watching, he's sporting the porn stash.
he's
like
got
me.
one
Jared can
too.
wear anything. Jared is the only man I can know, the only human I know who can wear white biker shorts on stage while, like, at the chili cook-off, you know,
Yeah,
being, I
yeah.
mean, it was an Axl Rose
Right.
impersonation. Like, I get it. It was, but he's the only person I know who can do those things, and people are like,
Okay,
yeah,
works.
yeah,
It works.
that's,
Yeah,
you know.
I'm good.
Cool.
I'm good.
Like if I saw Jared walking down the street tomorrow and he's in porn stash, white biker shorts, and a
Rainbow
whatever,
socks.
yeah, I'm gonna be like, that looks amazing. Like,
he's doing it.
yeah,
It works.
But if anybody else does it, I'm gonna
like,
be
oh
like,
my God,
do you have a
don't.
mirror? Like, do you have eyeballs? I mean, you know, I mean, Jared's the only person who's allowed to do that, and
You know what? You're kind of right.
yeah,
You're kinda
I'm
right.
not kind of right. I am absolutely right. Well, Jared and my friend Peyton. My friend Peyton can
I
pull
think
that
I know
off, too.
Peyton. I don't know him, but I think I know Peyton.
Another karaoke DJ
Yeah,
that
yeah.
owns a winery in Branson.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he owns a winery in Branson.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice. I love that you say that. But if I really do that off stage, I'm sure you'd think differently. I don't know.
I don't
She
know.
said walking down the street.
No, I would. But here's the deal, Jared. If you do this, I am going to be your entourage, and I am going to like paparazzi you on the side,
Yeah, there you go.
and then people would just be like, "Who's this famous guy?"
That's right.
Easy.
Totally.
Like, and I'd be like, "No, I'm sorry."
You need to back off.
Like, it's yeah.
Leave him alone. I love it. Do we have any comments? We got some comments that we missed. Julia's saying, if Screamer Dreamer medication information has been outed, however, Audio Roast research department remains on the loose. Ooh, what are you trying
So
to
many
say?
secrets.
So many secrets. Wait, Google the band. If you just Google that, you
Yeah.
may get something else entirely. the band.
The band.
Like the band. Yeah, you're probably right about that. Am I missing anything?
I don't think so.
Got it.
If I did, okay,
Got
cool.
it. I think
Just a couple things that
Where were we?
I was curious about. Pre getting into bands, even before the painter situation and all of that stuff. What was it that ever got you into it to begin with? Have you been singing since you was little?
Yeah. I was always the center of attention. So I was the
Imagine that.
Imagine that. I can't imagine.
I can't imagine. So I was the firstborn child. So, obviously like the center of attention. So, oh my God, she's the most perfect thing that's ever been on the earth.
Right.
I was the firstborn child, grandchild, great grandchild, all those things.
The whole bit.
So they would throw me up on the hearth. I was about to say the mantle.
Right.
That's above the fireplace on the hearth.
But the little stage in front of the fireplace.
Yeah.
I
At my
gotcha.
great grandparents' farm in Stratford, and I would sing some song that I learned in church. I'm like, "Nah," and if you didn't pay attention to me, I'd scream at you.
Sure.
So that's kind of how this whole thing started. And then I, in church,
Yeah.
what I wonder now, knowing how the world works,
Right.
is was I actually any good, or was I the girl who got to sing stuff because her great grandfather was the pastor?
Right.
Right.
So I'm really not sure
Right.
to this day. I got to sing a lot of solos and whatever at church performances and be in the plays. And I was also, so kindergarten, I went to Disney Elementary, and, our kindergarten performance, I was not paying attention to what was going on. And I turned around and they were like, "You're supposed to raise your hand." I'm like, "Okay." And I got picked to sing a solo, and it was It's a Small World After All.
Nice.
Okay.
So that was my first like solo outside of church, and I was like, "What am I doing?"
Right.
Oh, you're singing the solo. Okay. So I started performing at a young age.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, I always had a love of theater and performing. And that was really what I wanted to go into when I was in high school and thinking about college. I wanted to go into theater. And of course, that was not really a profitable a profitable idea to my parents
guaranteed
who were like,
profitable.
yeah. And so I was like, well, an attorney is the same thing, so maybe I'll just go to, maybe I'll
Same
become an attorney.
thing.
Wait, what?
So I was going to be a defense attorney was then my
Okay.
idea. So now fast forward so many years later, it's interesting. I have used my theater training. Shout out to Mrs. Rickman from Fairgrove and Ms. Death Row, but. Michelle Rickman, who's still around here and actually does some like image consulting now. We've had a lot of catching up over the years, but I was in her theater classes. And so now I'm able to use a lot of the things that I learned in theater, and the voice work that I do now has kind of come back to that.
Yeah.
So the singing was always a part of that, but the performing is really where I started.
Right.
And the theater is where I started. So a funny all the way around circle is that we were in theater class one day, and it was the day that we're supposed to be going over being a radio announcer. And we're going to read this script. So you get out your newspaper and you're going to read the thing. Well, I was so afraid to read in front of people because I'm not sure if I'm dyslexic or what, but there's a little bit of a lapse.
You're not a great reader.
I'm not. I'm really not.
I'm obviously not either. I fuck up the comments all the time.
Yeah. And so I now have learned a way in my brain to separate it. But if I read something for performance, I cannot tell you 30 seconds later what it said.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. I can see that.
So I did it for a performance, but I don't absorb it. Mm-hmm. So back then in theater class, there was a day, we're going around and we're going to read it. And I kept, because I knew I wasn't good at it, I would read it and I would, and I'd clear my throat because I was pretending that I had a throat problem. So that
Buy you some time.
right. And she's like, "Tiffany, stop it." Okay. So she knew what I was doing, and she told me later, she's like, "I know what you're doing. Stop it. You're fine. Just read it. It's not it's not that scary." And so now, fast forward, after COVID and everything, and I've been doing voice work for 17, 18 years, but now that's becoming more in the forefront. So it's a really interesting journey to be on with my voice. And yeah, it came from performance first. And then eventually along the way, I kind of learned to sing a couple songs or two.
Yeah,
Nice.
yeah.
So let's stop for 1 second. And you said something about throat problems. And of course, there's many singers and speakers and everything watching. So you're
Yeah.
kind of invented a throat spray.
You're working on a product.
You've got
I am.
like it's in the works.
Yes.
Tell us
So
about that business.
if you have known me for any length of time, and if you are in the industry, yeah, you know that there is a certain throat spray that I have had on me for the last, I don't know, 10 years, something like that. And so in the last year, I had a friend ask me, would you be interested in having a tea to market to your clients in your massage office? And I was like, well, like maybe more for the voiceover industry. So then I had this person look at the throat spray that I had been telling everybody about for years that I'm sorry, I got all of the like Springfield industry hooked on. And she said, actually, there's some things in here that are damaging to the vocal cords over time. And I've had
Which is one of the reasons I never use voice spray. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah. And so she looked at it, and I've had some other friends since now finding out. They said, oh, well, yeah, also that bothered my stomach. And so I've been working with an herbalist, and I have bought the rights to this recipe. And so I have the rights to the recipe. I have the sample.
Look.
It's Tiffany Samples.
Tiffany Samples
sample of throat spray. This is the only sample.
Tiffany's sample.
I know, right?
Sample.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm slow.
Try growing up with that name. It's a whole lot of fun. Free samples. Yeah. So, yeah. So anyway, we've been working on that, and we came up with, out of everything that she came up with, we came out with the taste that we liked, and it also has antiseptic properties. So not only is it good for singers and voice actors and all of that, but it's also good just for the general public during cold and flu season because it does have properties that will protect you and kill the crap that you breathe in.
Right,
so
right.
Right now I'm in the process of, I have the sample, I have the rights to the actual recipe, and I'm in the process of finding I guess you would call it a manufacturer.
Sure. Yeah.
Of someone to put it together. I could do it myself. I don't have a lot of time.
Yeah, right.
And I would really like to find somebody to do this for me. So if you are somebody who, if you happen to have experience with that,
Especially in bulk, it would be.
Yeah. It's getting the right things because there's a difference in the leaves versus the roots of the plant. The roots of the plant have the antiseptic properties. So, and I have all the info on that in my pocket. So I have that, but yeah, that's what I'm working on.
May I?
And yeah.
Let's see. You want some too?
Give it a try.
All right,
I think
because of health reasons, I'm going to keep it far away. So I'm probably going to spray it on my face. Too,
Right. Well, because it's also in like a bottle that's like a sample
It's a
bottle.
perfume bottle.
Yeah.
Ooh.
It's in like a
It's all over my
travel face spray hair type of bottle instead of this is not the bottle it'll be in.
My first reaction is coffee. My second reaction is licorice.
Yeah, it's got a little licorice
what's
flavor.
actually
So it's anise is probably what you're
okay? That's the
tasting.
harsh one.
Yeah,
that's the one that's harsh.
It's the one that people are like,
Not
"Oh,
in
is
a
that
bad
licorice?"
way, but just
I think it tastes like Christmas.
no, that's gin.
I shouldn't say. Oh yeah,
That's gin.
Yeah.
Ozark Mountain Air Devil's gin. We kind of like it.
I didn't
There's
even
a few
tell you
bottles.
that I like gin. but-
Dude, really?
I mean,
we
yeah,
should
I
have got
do.
some Ozark.
It tastes like a Christmas
You
tree.
got any
Anyway,
grapefruit juice? Because that's what I want.
Right? Gin and juice.
But yeah, so there's ginger. So
You don't have to give it all away.
right. Oh, I won't.
Of course not.
Oh, I
It's
won't.
not like, yeah, go mix some anise and some ginger and put it in a bottle and see how it works out. for you.
Right. Let's try that. 1
try
ounce
that.
and 1 ounce. Go for it.
Yeah, go do that.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's why you pay an herbalist who has years of experience. And I did. That brings up a good point. Is that I had a friend who was like, "Couldn't you just Google that and figure it out?" And I was like, "Well, there's a difference also." An herbalist knows the difference in the roots and the leaves, and there are some of the ingredients where you use the leaves. There are some of the ingredients where you use the roots, and different measures of each and then what you ferment them in for how long, and then what you put that in later for the base to propel it. So there's a lot that goes into it. But I'm really excited about it, and it's something that is not damaging over time. So it's actually beneficial, and not just beneficial to us as people who talk a lot and sing a lot, but beneficial to the general public as well. In cold and flu season, and breathe on your friend season, which is every day.
Every day.
Yeah. Unless you're living in a hole, and then
Unless it's 2020.
Yeah. Go back to 2020 and you don't have to worry about it.
Don't worry about your damn breathing on people's stuff.
Yeah.
Do you have a name in mind yet?
So this is a funny thing. I'm glad you brought this up. My business, my massage and aesthetics business has been Solace Body Solutions. So I have thought of my studio being my voice work that we haven't really talked a lot.
I want to go there.
Yeah, we're going there.
Because
We're
you say
in a
voice
transition.
work,
Interlude.
some people may not have a clue what we're talking about.
Right,
So we'll go there.
Right. So the studio, I thought about having it be Solace Studios because that is something that is branded to me already. And
Sure.
like you've talked about, I have my videos and all the things that I've done for a while.
Yeah.
So then it's like, well, is this Solace soothing spray?
Right.
Is this so? I'm in the process of the branding of it. So I have the recipe. I have the thing. Right now, it's the taking the thing from its really cool
Raw
thing
form, yeah.
and now going and throwing it into a package and putting it out there
And
and
making
being
it
like
sparkle.
Yes,
yeah.
yes,
So now we're in the process of doing that.
Yeah.
And it's fun. It's another exciting creative thing to be a part of and to do. So yeah, and I'm in the process also going, well, is that what my studio is going to be called? Like, do you brand your studio with the spray? Do
Look
you
at
do
us.
this? Like what?
Yeah.
We've turned everything is screamers now. So
Yeah, we were just talking before the
Where do
show.
you go?
Like, we had
Maybe
all
it'll
these-
just be like screamer spray.
which is actually really good.
Yeah, it
I
makes
mean,
sense
Can we
to
get a
what it
nickel
is.
per bottle?
Actually,
Just saying.
Do you
we
have
may need to
money?
talk. I mean, we may
You
want to
give me some
Screamer
money?
spray because it's nickel.
That's
it's a nickel.
you guys.
just a nickel.
Screamer spray.
Like if it happens,
real.
That's honestly
Because
not
you don't want to just use throat spray.
no.
Solace throat spray.
Yeah. So I'm not saying like soothing spray, but yeah, but like screamer spray is
Screamer spray, right? Because
good.
it's literally for the voice, whether
Yeah.
you're a singer, whether you're a speaker, whether you're just needing to
Yeah.
talk more to your children, whatever.
Yeah. Well, and as I've been working with this voice coach out of LA, and we will again touch on that. She has been saying that there are people who in different animation or whatever, you may be the screamer in the animation. You may be doing these things where you don't have a choice but to lose your voice in a
Yes.
lot of the
Right,
things
right,
that you
right.
do.
You have to
And-
do it to get
yeah.
that sound.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, screamer spray.
Okay,
Maybe.
all right.
I mean,
we
Let's
can talk.
talk.
We can talk about.
It's all documented right
It's
here.
all documented right here. We came up with a name, so it's not
Which,
copyrighted.
as we've already mentioned, is a great interlude into your voice work.
Let's
This
explain
is
what
something-
voice work is.
Yeah, there's some
Yeah.
people
It's
that
not just she doesn't just sit there going la 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 la. That's my voice work. I'm
No.
doing voice work.
Yeah.
La la. No.
there's actual
Yeah.
voice work. What? Let's get into it.
Okay. So I'll give you the where this started. Way back in the Wayback Machine. Yeah. Yeah. I hope there are some people out there who get that.
I'm sure this crowd will.
Yeah, they do. So my first incarnation, one of my first incarnations of my massage business was the pressure point massage therapy. And it was where pressure is the point. So
That's actually great.
I know, right? So, I was kind of smart at it. So I was introduced to Clear Channel Radio through somebody I was in a networking group with, and she's like, "Hey, come in and do chair massage on our sales staff." Cool. So we did what's called half cash, half trade. So I go in and $1 a minute chair massage. So it's 10 minutes. I got paid for 5 minutes. So $5 cash. And then I built up $5 at a time of radio play. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, or radio airtime. So
Sure.
what would happen is that right before Mother's Day or Christmas, I would do a run where I'd be like, "Hey, buy gift certificates from me. The Pressure Point Massage Therapy, where pressure is the point." So I'm doing these ads for my business. And Kat Morgan, who I was recording with, she's like, hey, I need, and this is back 2000, I don't know, maybe 4 or something. Like it's in the Wayback Machine. So 3, 4. Anyway, it doesn't matter. It's before 2020. It's in the before
20,
times.
Almost 20 years ago.
Yeah. So she's like, hey, would you mind to record something while you're in here? I need an out-of-market voice. So what that means back then is that before the internet made everything so accessible, to send large files, like media files, it took a long time.
Yes.
And so to get somebody who was out of your market, out of the Springfield area, to do a voiceover for something was really hard. So she is like, well, all of the people who are here that everybody knows their voice, I can't use them. I need somebody who's like a one-off voice. Cool, I'll do it. So I start doing these like one-off little things for Kat. And then I end up working with Garrick Arnold and some other people and Bill Elliott through E Squared or E3. I think it was E3. Was it E Squared? E Squared. Actually, funny thing, we did Sheridan's Frozen Custard. And one of our favorite things was that I had to do this. I had to make it a very subdued voice and make it this really nice and enhancing voice, but also at the same time it had to be really fast. So we came up with the phrase "hooker in a hurry." So, and it was something Pothole Sunday, and so that was a funny thing. But all of that to say, I started doing a lot of voice work back then. So since then I did Maddox New Prater, Silver Dollar City, Whitewater, all these things, News Leader, and then I started selling radio, and I'm trying to say this very quickly, so I'm not spending a lot of time on your podcast saying this.
No, you're fine.
But
That's why you're here.
That's why we're here.
I know, right? I'm like, but we're talking about me. I mean, get through it. So I started doing all of these things, and it was just cool. It was the thing I was doing. So through the years, I've been working with a lot of a certain agency that does Maddox New Prater, and then a lot of other ophthalmology and optometry places throughout the country. So for every Maddox New Prater that you may hear me on, the best in sight, you will also hear me on Dr. Black's Eye Associates and Fisher Laser Eye and all of these things.
This is what she means by voice work, kids.
Yes.
It's what the voice you hear on advertisements and and even intros to things possibly
And possible animation.
And
Right.
animation.
So there are so many things. Every time that there's a commercial on television or radio, there is a person behind that telling you what you're supposed to think about it.
Right.
Yes.
And that's really what it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I've been that person telling you what to think about it. Now, the funniest one, as we were talking earlier about my barely off-white, is that for years I was Tiffany from the Tan Company, where it's always sunny. So I was...
That's so awful.
I was the voiceover.
I love it, but I hate it.
Yeah. For a tan company, which had, I mean, and this is the first time I've had, and people are like, that's not a tan, Tiffany. And I'm like, but for me it is.
But this is so tan.
You
for
have no
Tiffany.
idea.
You have no idea.
I've tried all my life. I've tried for 40 years. So I've done all of these things. And yeah, I've had, oh God, even illusions. There's been some.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you're going down South Campbell. That was, yeah, there have been some over the years. So all of these things, like, okay, fast forward. I've been doing all this stuff forever. I did some instructional videos for meibomian gland dysfunction, which is the leading cause of dry eye. And COVID hits. Well, my office is shut down.
Because you
For 6 weeks.
touch people.
Yeah, I touch people
Very
for
closely.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's like I gotta be. Yeah, like
You gotta be
This is less than 6
a
feet.
lot less than 6 feet.
Yeah, it's
You
a lot
touch,
less than
you
6
touch them
feet.
in their cash and prizes.
Yeah. And then even for voice work, we couldn't be talking closely in a booth. And I did, like, even when we went back, some of the producers I was working with, we'd wear masks until we got in there, and I'd be in the booth and he'd be out recording. It was like, all right, we're good, So it was a lot of kind of weird stuff for a while.
For sure.
So I was talking to one of my friends, Jen JX, and who happens to be having a birthday show tomorrow night at the Cellar. It's his birthday
talented guy.
curated. Yeah, he turns 40, and shout out to him. And so, yeah, if you're in town, tomorrow is the 16th, right? 16th of September. So, yeah, if you're watching this at a later time, do not go to the Cellar, or do go to the Cellar. Actually, do, because
keep going.
There'll be something cool there.
It doesn't matter if he's there or not.
Yeah, but back
There'll
to
be
our
something
story.
cool.
So I had told you, and we're messing. And I was like, if I had a place at least in my house to do voice work, I could be doing audiobooks or something right now. But I'm
Yes.
just sitting here doing nothing except
sure.
for my 2 videos a week I do for my business.
Right.
So fast forward later that fall, I said something about the storm shelter in my basement, and he's like, Tiffany, are you telling me that you have a concrete box in your basement
For real.
and you're not using it as a studio? Touche, sir.
Hey,
I hear you.
So,
And I raise you $5,000.
yes, yes. So, not quite that much, but close to it. Like,
sure.
actually, yeah, we may be close. So the storm shelter got sealed off, painted, drywall, and all the acoustic foam and all the things, and the computer, the mic, the headphones, the da 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 da.
yeah. And it's just beautifully dead.
Yes,
Beautifully dead.
Dead as can be.
That tiny room
Yeah.
over there.
It's not too bad.
So thanks to Jen JX, I now have a studio in my basement.
Do you have any photos on your Facebook?
Yeah, I do. I probably posted some in August of. Is that no? That's on my couch. That's on my fancy couch.
You're fancy. It's so
Yeah,
fancy.
I know, my purple velvet couch, which is awesome. It would have been probably August of last year if you scroll back far enough that you will see pictures of my studio.
I'm a scroll and you keep talking.
I know. So yeah, I put that together. Oh yeah, you're almost there. There you go.
Boom sauce.
Yeah. Yeah,
All
so
right,
there's
I'm
some
gonna,
of that.
I'm gonna put this up while you're talking
Yeah.
for just a second. Boom,
So-
look at that shit.
that's
right
So I
there.
start posting something, and it's changed a little bit since then. But so I start posting these pictures, and my friend Tim Ritter, he messages me. He's like, "Hey, I saw that you've got a home studio. Have you thought about doing audiobooks?" I'm like, "Well, yeah, I said I was going to do audiobooks. That was the whole point." And he's like, "Well, this book that he'd been working on, which I'll tie this back. Are you okay with me getting a little deep in it for a minute?"
Absolutely.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
So I met Tim through his brother Doug, who has passed away, and Doug was the drummer for Steve Smith and the Sneakers.
Okay.
Steve Smith and the Sneakers, I used to go and watch after my first divorce when I first started getting out into the scene. And that's who I was the tambourine babe for.
Right.
And Steve Smith gave me a couple of voice lessons, we'll call them. And one of the things he said is, "We need to work on your vibrato." And I said, "Well, I don't know how to do vibrato." And he said, "Well, that's because you don't know how to breathe and you do it every song." It's like, okay. So that was Doug Ritter. Fast forward to Tim Ritter, his brother. And when my ex-husband, Dave Ellis, was in the hospital with a severe burn and skin grafts,
Yeah.
Tim and I were talking one time where I worked, and he said, "Hey, my grandmother was actually one of the first people to go through the skin graft procedure years ago because
Wow.
she was burned in a house fire. And there's actually a lot of story to that. Some of my family died. We started talking about it, and he said that he had always wanted to write a book about it."
Huh.
So that was 2015. So now I put the studio in, and he messages me and said, "Hey, remember that book I talked about? It's in editing, and I'd really like you to be the voiceover for it, to be the narrator for it, if you're interested in that." I set up my voice studio my sound studio thinking that I would do a bunch of like self-help, third person, be a better person, da 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 kind of stuff. And I was like, I'll get into like real narration with characters later on because that's a lot harder.
Yes,
Right.
for sure.
Or instead, I will jump into a historical fiction where people are being burned alive in a fire. And the mother
just do
is
that.
screaming and
just do that.
crying while her son and grandson are burning in it.
Oh my.
And then have to, to go back from Joey and like screaming for the person and Sarah, and then to go back to said Sarah as she moved quietly through the like. So that's how I jumped into audiobook work.
All right.
That book is called Sarah Burning, and you can find it on
All your audiobook apps, probably.
yeah, on Audible and Kindle, or Audible and iTunes and all those.
Yeah.
But that's so fast forward, that's how that happened.
I just
And
want to throw in this worst audiobook ever. 50 Shades of Grey.
Oh,
Have you listened?
no, I have not.
Dude, I don't read, so
not good.
we listen to 50 Shades of Grey because we all the hype, and so pretty much during the same week.
And we just don't have time to read, but we have
No.
lots of time to listen to stuff
yeah.
while we're working.
So we're
Yeah.
working. And worst, please, at least listen to the excerpt. Don't buy it, but
Okay.
at least listen to the excerpt.
I don't know. I wasn't a fan.
I was
But
not
it is
a fan.
interesting, regardless of that. It
Sorry,
is
I just had to throw that
interesting
in there.
how some books can have just a horrible narrator.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And there's so many things that I hear now. I was actually doing an on hold message for my insurance agent this week, and so all I could hear when I played it back to myself was insurance, and I
Right.
felt like it was the beaver in Lady and the Tramp, like yeah, and I was like, this is terrible.
Or you mean
so,
Winnie the Pooh?
no, Beaver and Lady and the Tramp. Suffer.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right.
Yeah.
The big teeth, right?
Yeah, he helped her get out of the like collar thing. Yeah. So so I message Don Barnes, who has Barnes Audio, and he's like the tech guru in the end. And I was like, man, like I got it. Like I set up with a 15-minute thing. He's like, it sounds fine. Like, and he's like, here's the thing: as a musician, you want your headphones to always be hot,
Yes.
and as a voice actor, you actually have to turn them down. I'm like, but no, I need to hear all the details,
Right.
And I need to hear all. And he's like, no, you've got to turn it down.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And he's like, the
wow.
audio actually sounds perfect for an on-hold message, and it could even be brighter. And I was like, no, I'm screaming. And he's like, no. I mean, this is a guy who knows his stuff.
Been there, done that.
right,
Yeah.
right.
So, but it's just such a different world to get into and to learn to, like, I mean, we all want to hear every little sound that we make and the breaths and like all I can hear a lot of the time when we're even on this is I can hear
Every little.
all the mouth clicks.
Every one of those are going to
we
peak
have-
in the audio.
We have like for me like audio work, like recording songs or anything. It's like taking photos, studio photos for me. I am terrible at studio photos and I'm terrible at studio recording. I'm great live,
Yeah.
and live photos because I'm natural.
Yeah.
When I go in the
Give me
studio,
this.
when I'm in the studio, I'm like, I have to be perfect, And so photos are that way. Most of my studios pictures are like Olin Mills, the worst. I can't do it. So we're recording some stuff and some songs or whatever, but then our little voiceovers that we do for our own podcast, I was in there just farting around, and he saved them. That was the best one because he didn't tell me he was recording.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Some of the stuff that we've actually done our own voiceover, where I changed my voice just a little bit. It just like same like
Well, our original intro that has
Yeah.
the ladies and gentlemen.
ladies and gentlemen,
And you're just like, I guess I'm just an attention
I guess that
whore.
because he was just like, shout out some of the phrases that are just stupid and just practice those. But he recorded all of those, and that's what's used.
Most of
Yeah.
them are what's
And I
used,
changed
so.
my voice like 4 times, and then he's on there too. But then even our other one that we do now for the YouTube videos, where we do warning. This what I can't even remember what it says.
Warning. This show would occasionally be funny.
And I come and go, don't take it seriously. It was totally I didn't know he was going to keep that. I
Yeah.
was just fucking around. Done.
Yeah.
It's more natural for me. So for me to take on your role of this voice thing, I'm sure you did the same thing, where you were like, I don't know how to act right, and I'm going to be, and now you're probably a lot more natural the first take, right?
Well,
There is and there isn't. So, like, okay, so I'm working with Nancy Wolfson, who is a voice coach out of LA.
Okay.
And our last session together, she had me listen to breaking into animation was one of her things, because I am not having enough fun with my voice, because
Okay.
I am getting too heady about it. I'm getting like right up here, and I'm like, but it's not this, and it's not this, and what is it? And you know, and she's like, you need to chill the F out.
Nice.
You know?
Okay.
And so like we gotta chill out and bring it back and have some fun with it. And the interesting thing is that I get so many people who ask me, well, how do I get into voice work? Everybody tells me I have a good voice, so like how should I get into this? And everybody who has been in it for a while, all the things that I'm learning, I'm listening to, will tell you it has very little to do with your voice. Like, okay, you come with the talent, right? And we see this in the music world too.
yeah.
Sure.
It has to do with being able to be in the moment and to convey the message.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
Yes.
it does not matter what you think of it. It matters if you can. So like in acting for advertising, it matters if you can convey what the writer of the ad wanted the listener to hear. So when it's a song, it's what are we conveying that the songwriter wanted somebody to know? Somebody wrote a story about that.
Right.
Right.
Which is one of those. I will diverge for a moment. One of my favorite songs still that you do is the "I Was Made for You," because
Oh, story? The story from Brandy Carlisle?
Yeah. As we're talking about storytelling,
Yes. It's a great song. Yes, I love singing it.
and you just, I mean, but you take that and you make it. You know that you feel it.
The message is important.
The
to her.
message is important
Yeah.
to you. And so that's what it is. The same with, I mean, there is acting, but these voiceover ads, all these things, it is acting, and so you have to make people believe that it is important to them as
Sure.
well, that they get this thing or whatever, whatever it is.
Right,
So yeah, so
That's great.
For sure.
Have you gotten into more stuff than that? You say you're actually interested in trying to do animation, or you have done some of that already? or?
Okay, so animation is an interesting thing, because animation, you are often in a room with other people where you're acting off of them. So being in Springfield, Missouri, that is a lesser probability for
Right.
certain animation. Video games may be more likely, where you can be, you know that you have these lines to say.
Right.
So that's a possibility. But full on animation, animated series, those kind of things, you really need to be on site in LA or Atlanta or
Sure,
wherever they're
sure.
recording them.
Because you work off each other?
Yeah.
Yeah, for the actual animation. But
Yeah.
even just in your studio, have you messed around at all with doing, like, do you do voices that are wildly not yours? Like, because you've
Why
done,
would you ask me such a thing?
yeah, stuff like that. Like, have you kind of, whether it's for your own kind of exercise or have actually been asked to do, because you've already used a ton of great sounds.
So one of my favorite ones is my friend Jenny lived with me for a while, and she had this dog named Pee-wee. And Pee-wee, his teeth were, man, they were pretty fucked up, because Pee-wee's seen a lot of life in his few days, and so he he'd look at you, and he only he just had one eye, and he his teeth were coming out the bottom of her mouth, and like you could only see so much, and he could only talk so much. But
So yes, there are certain things where
Perfect. I love it. Love it.
to answer your
That's what I'm
question.
talking about. Yes, it does.
So there is, but we all do it. We all play pretend to a certain extent. Like
Yeah.
if you have a pet,
You give them a voice.
right? Your
Yeah,
pet
yeah,
has a voice.
Of
You
course.
talk to them that, and they
Yes.
talk to you back when
Yeah.
you say like, "Do you want a treat?" No, mommy. I just want. Why, mommy? What kind of coins? You know, like
Yes.
whatever your pet's voice
yeah.
is, you've said it. You've done it.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and
we
you
all do it.
talk to them with a different voice as well.
Yeah.
You give them their pet voice.
Yeah.
Like we have 2 dogs. I talk to them differently,
Oh yeah.
and they talk to me differently.
Well, I'm sure you've probably done this too, where everybody I've ever dated or been in a relationship with, or they're married or whatever, they're like, you do like your phone voice, like your mom phone voice, your grandmother phone voice, your whatever. And then, you know, when I'm in my office, I'm like, all right, well, I'm going to step out and I'll have you face down on the sheet there and I'll knock before I come back in. And like,
You unclothe to your comfort level.
right. When do I talk like to you like
No,
that?
never.
I'm like,
No.
hey, yeah.
It's party time. He answers the phone. Every time he answers the phone, this is something I don't even know if you know you do. So we hardly ever, as a married couple, ever talk on the phone to each other.
Right.
Ever. And when I call him, he still answers with his boss voice or his client voice. He's like, hello. Like every single time. It's not hello, or it's like, hey Tara. Or, no. Every time he answers the phone, I hear a client call him on the porch, and he'll be like, hello. Hello. It's Dan's answer the phone voice.
Yeah.
It's weird because you don't say the word hello.
Hello.
Right. You don't do that. You go, hello.
You know, I will say, and this is a divergent, but the best saying hello is if you hear Mood Ring Circus.
Oh, yes.
That song, Cheese-O Pizza Place. Yeah. That song is
Sorry, had to.
It's the best. I love that song so much. We've played it and got copyright hit on YouTube so many times on that song.
Moving on to a completely crazy, ridiculously unrelated subject, and I don't know how many people actually know this. We mentioned it actually. Hello.
Hello.
Whenever you're in a fight with your spouse, their voice, whether it's male or female, turns into like, "Oh, that's not where I wanted to eat."
Every single time.
Like, no, that's what you said. What did I say? You said, "I don't know where I want to eat."
Or it's like, oh, is that what I sound like?
Anyway, we mentioned it earlier. Tell us about your time, because it wasn't bodybuilding, right? It was something different.
It was fitness and figure.
Like competition, you competed.
Yeah.
Right?
We touched on it, but yeah.
Right. So the best way to get me to do something is to tell me that I can't.
Right.
And so
You and Dan are the same there.
Yeah. So if you tell me I can't do something, then I'll do it.
I'm gonna do it.
When I was in junior high, my mom, okay, let's actually back up a little further.
Okay.
My mom did bodybuilding when I was in 4th grade.
Like for real?
Yeah, for real.
Nice.
She won the Miss Missouri when I was in 4th grade. I think I was in 4th grade. That's accurate enough.
Close enough.
Yeah. So fast forward, I'm at Fairgrove Middle School, and Travis Chapman said something about it came down to the whole bodybuilding thing. My mom, and he's like, "Well, you couldn't do that," and I was like, "Oh yeah." So
I love it.
so I end up doing competitive weightlifting.
Wow.
So I did competitive weightlifting
At your size, like there's a weight category.
Yeah. So
I would
the
assume.
cool thing,
Okay.
yeah. So when you're really strong for your size,
Right?
this is the really awesome thing.
Yeah.
So I was 114 pounds, but they ratio because there's not a lot of female competitors. So the male competitors in weightlifting, they put you in class sizes. So that's when the guys like try to sweat down to get like, if it's like a 130 cutoff, they're like, I'm going to sweat down to 129. So that you're at the
weight.
top. Yeah. So you make weight. Well, with females, it's totally different. They ratio your body weight to your lifted weight.
Wow.
Because there's not enough of you to make. Otherwise,
Certain classes.
Yeah,
You
otherwise
can't
you're going to be
separate
like, well, Tiffany wins the 120 and under, and
she's the
Tina
only one.
wins 120 and over. Like,
Right,
yeah, that's what
right.
you got. So they'd ratio your body weight. So I started competing in weightlifting. And I started working out with the football players, and I got really into weightlifting. So then, fast forward again. Somebody, when I had my first massage office at a place in Lebanon, and I honestly cannot remember the name of the place. It was a fitness center out there. It was the only fitness center in Lebanon at the time.
But you know what you were wearing.
Yeah, I wore the same blue pants and tan pants with these little like ribbed things on the side a lot. And yeah, I did actually. And the guy's name was Adam, and my trainer. And anyway, so they had this wall of competitors. And it was pictures of all these competitors. I was like, hey guys, I'll bring a picture of my mom. She won Miss Missouri in 1990. And they're like, well, okay, so your mom competed. Would you compete? And I was like, oh no, she got to compete back when you got to still look pretty feminine, like now, and they're like, well, have you thought about fitness and figure? And I said, well, what's fitness and figure? 6 months later, I competed in fitness and figure.
Oh man.
And I got second in the state.
Woohoo.
And actually, I can send you a picture.
Please do.
Yeah,
Please do. Go
Yeah.
ahead and send it to our mine or maybe my Facebook.
I'll bring it up and I'll let you send it to yourself.
All right.
How about that? That'll be better. But yeah, so I competed and I got second in the state. And so, all right, they are selected. Send them wherever you need to send them to.
I will
You know
do
how that goes.
I'll do Messenger.
So,
Competed.
Yeah.
6
So I
months
competed.
later.
So 6 months later, I competed. I got second in the state.
I'm the first one, so easy.
Oh,
That's-
well, there you
look at
go.
that.
It's wonderful.
It knew. How did it know?
It's almost like we messaged earlier.
I know it's kind of almost like there's an algorithm that it's still sending. So
It's weird. Okay.
we'll keep that open.
Yeah, we'll keep that open. But anyway, yeah, and so it's always been a part of my life, and then back and forth through. Oh, it sounds.
That's
I heard
it.
I heard a ding.
Ding.
I heard a ding. My back has always been like. It's
Awesome.
Yeah.
I'll say it for you.
Yeah. And so
I'm a
even-
huge back person. I
yeah.
love backs.
So even
He loves ladies' backs.
yeah.
I love ladies' backs, yes.
All right.
And now you got to
Keep talking. I'm gonna go ahead and scroll.
okay. So
Boom
when-
sauce. Look at this shit.
Yeah. These are back when you had to like print out pictures. This is before cell phone pictures.
Sure.
So because this is in 2001 or 2002. So yeah, you had to. These are pictures I took of photographs.
Right.
Photographs. And my hair was actually very dark. It was just the light. But yeah, this next one.
Bam.
Yeah.
There it is.
There it is. There's my back.
Jeez.
The entire back side.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah.
That shit right there, kids.
And all I wanted was a fucking sandwich that day. It's like if you would just give me a sandwich.
So wild.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Awesome. Go
It
on
was
with
super
your
fun.
story, though. I'm distracted, but go ahead. That was lovely.
Oh, I'm honestly distracted too. So, but yeah, it was a great time, and I use my physical workouts more now for my mental health.
Sure.
Producing your own serotonin is really nice.
It's lovely.
Doing all of those things. But yeah, back then it was more of a dare. And well, you can't do this. So, okay, well then, yeah, I can. And that's
Yeah.
kind of how I've always been is that tell me I can't do something. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I'll go in and I'll do it. And
Yeah.
so I did.
That is awesome.
Wonderful.
Did you do any more than just that one competition? Like, did you continue it?
I had plans to. Do you guys remember Body for Life?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where it was like this 90-day plan, you do this. Okay. So I was like, well, this is going to be great. I'm going to have some great after pictures because my trainer and a whole lot of other people who had done this before said, be very careful. You will put on weight really fast and it'll be unhealthy. So be very, very careful as you start eating again. Don't overload. And I was like, I'm a size 2. Don't tell me what to do. So I put on 30 pounds in less than a month.
Wow.
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Damn.
Yeah. Yeah. But I also deprived myself of food. It's not healthy in any way.
Right.
I mean, yeah, you look like I'm stacked. No, you're not healthy though. You're not healthy. I hadn't
Right.
had water. The day those pictures were taken, I was able to put water in my mouth and spit it back out.
Oh gosh.
Yeah. But I had gotten up to a gallon of water a day, and then you trail it off. They don't do this so much anymore. There are a lot of different schools of thought, but that particular school of thought was then you get to the point where you don't drink any water, so that your skin sucks to your muscles.
Right.
And then you carb load that morning. So that morning, my dad made me pancakes that I could not have syrup with. I could not have any beverages with.
Oh, my
to drink.
goodness.
I mean, can you imagine eating pancakes? It was
No.
the most terrible thing. Yeah. So I'm like, yay, pancakes that I can't have anything left to like, yeah. But it's so that you blow up your
like eating
muscles.
chalk.
You carb load morning of so that your
Right.
muscles puff out, but you
Deprive yourself
dehydrate
of liquid.
yourself. Yeah. So that
Holy
your
shit.
skin sucks to yourself. And then they take you backstage and they so there's this stuff called bikini bite that you spray so that your stuff sticks to you, your suit sticks to you, and it doesn't ride up your butt and everything.
Right.
Talking about butts again, like the first.
Right.
And then they spray you down with Pam cooking spray.
What?
No shit. So
That's
that
the
you are-
oil.
Yeah, that's the oil for the
Holy
stage.
shit.
They spray you with Pam cooking
You'd
spray.
think it was something fancy.
Nope, it's Pam cooking spray.
Wow.
Yeah.
Butter
And-
flavor?
Yeah, and the girl so here's the funny. So we're back there, and I haven't ever done one of these competitions before, but I ended up because I was so good about turning in my stuff early. I'm number one, so I'm the first person to walk out on the stage that day,
Right.
and so I don't even get to see anybody else do it first.
Center of attention, though.
Yeah,
You got this.
I'm like, okay, I'm like last spread. Okay, what are we gonna do? So she just like reaches down my top, pulls up my boob, sprays like some stuff, and then is like, okay, hold this, and I'm like, okay, and I don't even know what's going on, but she's just telling me what to do, and she's making sure that my suit sticks to me while also spraying me with Pam cooking spray,
And
it was
lifting your boobs.
yes, and then she's like, hold this
Unbelievable.
cheek, hold that cheek, and it was.
Oh,
Well, that's
gosh.
cool, though. You
Yeah.
had someone to help you.
But that's what I did at 21. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, and that's what she did for everybody. It wasn't like she was,
Still, that's
special
nice.
for me. But yeah, that's what she was.
No. But yeah.
Pam cooking spray.
Yep.
All right.
Yep. Just
Our
in case
next
you ever
photo
wondered.
shoot, babe.
And boob glue.
Our next photo
Yeah.
shoot. Like I'm
Yeah.
doing a
The
photo
boob
shoot.
was just spray adhesive from Home Depot.
Right. It was like Gorilla Glue right there.
Yeah. I
Double-sided sticky
think Sade
tape.
talked to you about Gorilla Glue on her interview, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's one of the few, actually, one of the few, you were talking about singing in COVID and all the things, like one of the few things I've done since COVID has been her Juneteenth shows, is that
Yes,
yeah.
performed a couple and then I'll
Love
help
her.
her out with some. But yeah, Sade, we were just in Fayetteville last
How about
weekend.
her transformation? Are you
Man,
kidding me?
She's
killing it.
yeah.
She's doing so good.
Yeah, she
Yeah.
puts in the work, and she just she had a show with Big Boogie last weekend down in Fayetteville. It was a
Audio
really-
episode 51.
yeah. It was a great show, and she's just a good person too. And honestly, what she does on stage is amazing. The way her and Vaughn love each other,
Yeah.
and if she's watching, like I love the two.
He
of them
was
together.
cute when he was here. Like, she's like, I hope you don't mind. She brought her brother and him.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably Rico.
And they sat on
yeah.
the couch right here, and we did the show here. And it was just,
It was a
so
fantastic
cute. It was
show.
like they would chime in just for facts every once
Mm-hmm.
in a while. It was a lovely interview. Please listen to
I had a
episode
lot
51.
of
fun Yeah.
Audio
with her.
episode 51.
I had
Yeah.
a lot of fun with her.
Yeah, she was
Yeah.
great. She was great. Super energetic and positive person.
Yeah, she's done some amazing things, and I remember when I first got her, I friended her on Facebook, and I was like, oh my god, this person that's on like American Idol, totally
Oh, her American Idol story was amazing,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
It's pretty funny.
Yeah, it was good.
but now we're actually like
Actual friends.
IRL
Friends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In real life.
in real life.
So good. So let me look at the comments real quick
Yeah, let's
because
see.
we've missed a few. And they might not seem relevant to this time point. But we've been gabbing so wonderful. So I just want to pop in real quick. And Cheryl Cook says, the movie was awful too. Awful. So what do you think that's in reference to? Considering the timestamp is 9/11, it is now 9:33. So
The movie.
because
minutes ago.
right before it,
awful.
Keisha, is it Keisha Hamilton
Yeah,
or Keisha?
yeah, it's Keisha. Yeah,
So she says, I'm going to need some Screamer spray after this Chiefs game. Apparently they're not
Yeah.
doing well. I don't know. I'm wearing my Chiefs shirt.
that's my friend Keisha, who she's from here. She's a chiropractor, and she actually just bought a chiropractic office on St. Thomas.
Really?
Ooh,
Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
geez.
Yeah, so
I need to go
Dan,
get my
we need to- I
adjustments.
know.
I need to go
have to
get
see
my
her.
adjustments real quick. real quick. So then she says, Wayne's World, excellent, because we did the Wayback Machine. So then that's when Cheryl comes in with that movie was awful too.
Oh, thank
I
you.
I don't think she's
disagree.
talking about. I don't think she's talking about Wayne's
I
World.
don't know, because what else did we mention?
We were talking about something else.
Right. So Cheryl, if you're still watching, please let us know.
We let the comment go by too long.
Oh, I do see that Jared said those calves.
I know
I'm like,
those calves
Those calves, though.
on the picture.
dude, they're still. I mean,
They're still.
yeah,
wait,
they're
hang
still
on.
not bad
Hang
at
on.
all.
are
Do we want show and tell?
no,
no.
that's the other side of it. Hold on. Can we, is it that side? Is it? Where
Yeah,
is it?
there you
that's
go.
not good. That doesn't do
No, the
anything,
other
though.
one when you had your leg up a second ago, facing it. Look at the fish belly. Look at the fish belly. Look at that shit. Yeah, right there.
yeah.
Look at that.
Oh, there you
Hell
go.
yeah!
I don't know where we're.
Those calves
Figure out where
though.
the video is. Yeah.
Right, you're
Sorry,
fine.
anyway.
Just look at that little eyeball on the iPad. Okay, back to your camera. So yeah, those calves. Cheryl says I can't fucking remember the movie. You said the audiobook was 50 Shades of Grey.
50 Shades of
yeah,
Grey.
50 Shades of
Yes.
Grey. That's what we were talking about. She's like, I can't remember the movie. Love it, but she hated it.
She's probably drinking.
So I had a brief moment in time where I worked at an adult novelty store.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
That sounds fun.
And we were required to read 50 Shades of Grey. It was during the time that it was out.
It was big and
Yeah. And I just
okay.
couldn't.
Dude,
It's
The writing
terrible.
was so bad.
the writing is so
terrible.
bad.
And
it's terrible. And there's like 3 of them? 3 books?
yeah. So I just faked it with clients instead. I was like, or with customers.
Right,
Usually
right.
Clients for everything.
The-
but yeah, I was like, no.
It's bad.
So-
it's
It's
not
so
good
never-
writing.
bad. 50 Shades of Grey is so, I'm sorry, but
Like if you want to watch porn, watch porn. But if you want to read
But there's actual erotic, and even my ex-wife told me this, and I totally agree with her because she's a
writer.
very avid reader.
reader,
Well,
right?
She's
Well, she's an aspiring
extremely well read and an aspiring reader.
writer.
She's writer. I mean, no reader.
You said aspiring. So I said writer.
She is a reader,
Right.
and she aspires to be a writer.
There you go.
Anyway,
what I was trying to say.
Anyway, she's just like, oh my gosh, there are so many awesome, erotic, wonderful
Yeah.
authors that are 1,000 times better than 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah.
But 50 Shades of Grey was just like the new kids on the block
It
of
was
eroticism.
Oh,
It's like,
100%. That's a
yeah,
good
it's just,
analyst.
it's like,
yeah.
yeah, I don't know. It's just,
In KOTB, is that what?
Yeah. Oh my God.
it was just so bad. I think that's partially the reason why the audiobook was so bad.
Well, the girl
because
reading it, come on.
I know the girl reading it, but I'm just saying the actual writing is not that
the actual
great.
writing was awful.
So there's actually a whole genre, with audiobook reading too.
Right.
There's, obviously there is a genre of
Romance novels.
Yeah, romance novels and everything and erotica, and so you can use a pseudonym if you want, whenever you're performing these. So I've gone down the rabbit hole of like seeing what there is out there to audition for.
Right.
There is this whole genre right now of shrinking people versus gigantic people.
Excuse me? Pardon me?
Yeah.
What? Wait, what?
Okay.
I'm really like I have not explored other than like scrolling through to see what's up for auditions. But yeah, there's this whole thing with like this tiny man who fits in the palm of a girl's hand and then but it's like a series.
This is erotica.
Yes.
Is erotic fiction?
Yes.
Obviously.
Of like 8 books. And I'm like, what the? So at this point, I'm like, well, I kind of want to find out what this is
Yes,
about. And you get to
totally.
use a different name. Like you can, which at first I was like, well,
Tiffy
doesn't
Monroe.
matter. Yeah, right. I know. Let's see if you ever see that. But I mean, yeah. But it's so funny. I'm like, what is this? But
That's
yeah,
wild.
there are some really, and it's a whole thing. out
There is
You
a
can
genre
find- yeah.
for everyone.
Yes.
No
Yeah,
matter
and
what your
don't-
kink
and
is.
don't kink shame.
No, not at all.
No.
Don't kink
No.
shame.
I mean, it
There's
kind of
no
goes
shame
back
in
to
kinks.
it's the same as karaoke, really.
I can see where you're going with this.
You can, can't you?
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if it makes you happy,
Right.
Yeah.
As long as it's not pedophilia.
Yeah.
Just go,
That's
go,
a
go.
that's a song I've seen you sing.
makes you happy, it can't be that bad. Yeah.
Do you see how far
Yeah.
she slid back from the mic, children?
Yeah.
Bitch got a voice, man.
So, but that's the thing. Like, if we are producing good chemicals in our body and it's not hurting somebody else in the process,
Yeah.
then what does that hurt?
Exactly.
It doesn't hurt at all.
100%. I don't care what your kink is, as long as it's not like disgusting, like pedophilia and
Right.
you know,
Which
yeah,
hurts
that's
somebody else.
different.
So,
Absolutely.
So as long as we are
Which
not
hurts
hurting
other
other people,
Yeah.
absolutely,
as
and
long
you're
as we're not
consenting
degrading
adults.
other people, correct? Consenting adults. Consent is always very important.
For sure.
Then we should always be able to, like, if it makes you happy, if it makes you feel good, if it produces those
Then go do
those
it.
chemicals in your body, then do it.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And nobody's gonna say you're weird. Well, everybody will say you're weird.
Who cares?
But
They've
who
said
cares?
that we're weird for our hair,
Dude, exactly.
Man,
I
like,
had
you and
purple
I
hair for the
both.
longest time.
Yes,
Right,
I've
right.
had black and red hair and everything else with you. I had blue hair first before I had red.
I like to say that we had colored hair before it was cool.
I know.
You
I
and
know.
I both.
Now that I see people,
Right?
especially the red, is like
That's
a
pretty
big
much the
thing.
reason I don't do it anymore.
Yeah, and now I'm pissed off. I'm like, all you girls who think that you're something,
You,
know,
think
and I'm like,
you think you're rebelling and
yeah,
being so
yeah, and
cool.
I'm like, I've had this for like 20 years.
You didn't see my rainbow I had for a while.
Yeah,
Fucking
yeah.
in honor of freaking Pride Month, I put rainbow hair.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
Nobody cares
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah,
now
I
it's
was-
just cool.
I was actually rebellious. Yeah.
Yeah, I was like super fun. So Julia says, in the vein of 50 Shades, she says 50 Shades was permission for the average housewife to like porn. Hashtag I said it. Instead of just finding your own kink and owning it. Exactly. Like, girls, there's better shit out there than a stupid book that was poorly written
No,
and
but
poorly
wait,
read.
but wait. To her point, and I agree, the typical housewife to give herself permission
For sure.
to enjoy porn.
For sure.
It's, hey,
Some mainstream stuff.
there are some people out there who
you
still
can talk
have
over coffee.
issues. Well, they still have issues with enjoying themselves, whatever sexually.
Say it.
Yep.
Women still have issues with enjoying sex.
Yes.
It's okay to enjoy sex,
Yes.
ladies.
It doesn't make you a hooer.
It's okay.
Yeah. So that's where I actually will give some kudos to 50 Shades of Grey.
Sure.
And it probably did have to be written kind of simple so that the simple housewife could understand it and be allowed to read it. And the reason why they... What?
Go.
Tara and I both.
We-
The simple housewife could understand it.
No, I'm not talking about you two. I'm not talking about you two.
Oh.
I'm talking about the women who actually are...
No.
What I heard
I just stepped into
was
a
the
fucking
simple
BS.
housewife.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But I'm only referencing Julia's comment.
There are no
She said average housewives. She said average housewife. You said simple housewife.
Okay.
Does that mean she's like Forrest Gump making dinner?
No. There is no simple. God damn. I am not going to be able to get out of
You
this
can't
hole.
dig out of this hole.
Not even.
All right.
Oh, here we go.
No. It's not what I meant. I'm just saying whether we love the notion or hate the notion, there are women out there who this is actually part of the legitimate
I know what you were
point.
trying to say.
Can
that,
I?
that don't have a voice of their own.
For sure.
And they don't feel like they have a voice of their own, and they are stifled and they are oppressed. And I feel terrible
Yes.
about the situation that they're in.
Agreed.
50 Shades of Grey was a bit of an escape for those kind of women, simple housewife or not.
Okay.
That's the best I got. That's the best
With
I
your
got.
got you.
simple. Okay.
No.
Can I? Sorry. Do you have something?
Yeah, even Robert Crook says, "Damn, Dan, simple."
I'm sorry.
He's like poison crosses. No,
This is awful.
you dug yourself a nice little hole.
okay,
Choose your words wisely.
You allude to a really great point though.
But you know what he's trying to
It-
say.
think-
yeah, I know what he's trying to say, and I'm really glad that I like you because otherwise
was
it's a
poorly
good thing there's a
spoken.
table between us because I would punch
So
you in your.
poorly
I
spoken.
got you. I got you.
She and I both were on fire.
It's a good thing I like your mom. Let's just say that. Like, the only
Hashtag Mama
reason-
Gail. Hashtag
Yeah.
Mama Gail.
yeah, Mama Gail. Yeah, because I'm gonna question you. Okay, but yes, you are right. So, sexuality has been removed from women in so many ways, like that it's a thing we do instead of something that we are or own.
Right.
Whereas men, it is something that is a part of them, and it's something that they put on to other women.
Right.
And so I think that it did bring back kind of a balance and a conversation at least about sexuality. And it is something that we need to all be able to own within ourselves, because for each person it's different.
For sure. Yeah.
And some people are overtly what we would say, and I shouldn't even say that.
You're not judging. You're putting
right.
You're
Some
not putting
people-
a label. You're describing. It's different.
Some people use sex in a way that it may calm them or invigorate them, or it's a part of their a more routine part of their life that they use for whatever purpose. Some people have other things that they use. So it can be any part of your life, but it is a basic human need.
Yeah.
It is the same, eating, breathing. It is actually part of our hierarchy of needs.
It is.
And so to deny it is not a good thing.
Especially
Yeah.
for women.
Yeah. Yeah, and we've been told to go keep it in the corner.
Dude.
Go keep it, and but then what happens? What happens when you are in a church setting growing up is that you're told, well,
Boys just want this part of you, and so you need to go and keep this locked away
Yes.
from all the boys, and go keep this in this little box over here, and it's really important, but that's all the boys want.
so then you find out, or you believe that is the thing
Yeah.
that makes your worth.
Right.
Yes.
Yes.
And so you start to center your worth on this thing that you keep locked up.
Yeah.
And so you don't explore it for yourself because it's in this box over here. And you're not allowed to because it's bad.
Right.
Yeah.
And so as you grow as a human, you find out that no, these are all parts of us. It's the same as doing push-ups and breathing and doing all the things and drinking water and all the things that you're supposed to do for yourself to release these amazing hormones and chemicals that we have in our body that make us feel good. That as long as they are all consensual and good and all these things, you are able to use them in a way that can bring you pleasure by just simply being in a room.
Yeah.
sure.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Why would you not?
100%.
Exactly. Yeah.
You're
And-
not-
and I'm hoping, I know it's 2022, and I think that
2022 in America.
in America.
America is.
I'm afraid of Americans.
Yes. I'm afraid of.
I'm afraid of the world.
Oh my gosh, that cut is so good.
It is the best. So good.
Everyone talks about all of David Bowie's shit, and I don't think he's got a song better than that one. Anyway, which was more of his most recent songs. Anyway, there is a little bit of it that is very American.
Well, for sure. Yes. Because, well,
Like I think some European countries are already over
Yeah.
this shit.
Well, there was I was doing an audition for a book recently that was I think it was Scandinavian. Shoot, I cannot remember the country, but I do know that it was somewhere over there. And
over there, she says.
there, up
Over there.
over hill, over there. We have the Dusty Trail in this case. No, okay. But it was in that part of the hemisphere, and they were saying
Shout out to
that
my
it's like-
brother in Sweden.
Yeah, I know.
Hashtag Sweden.
Yeah,
Hashtag Sweden.
believe me, I want to have lots of conversations about that. But it was talking about the fact that there, it was called like coffee or sex before coffee or something, because it is common that you like hook up with somebody and then you spend time with them.
Yes.
And it's like but it's the way of the entire country.
It's actually how they do it.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. And they're like, well, we would not actually want to spend time with you until we figure out if we're physically compatible.
Which is so
Like,
funny
what
because
a-
that's opposite of our theory.
That's what I'm
And over
saying,
here, we're like, well,
Americans.
let's see if
No,
we
our personal theory.
Well, some.
Yeah.
But I still think that's a perfect point, because I think there are cultures who just see it so different and they live it so different.
I'm going to see if that script is actually still
Nice.
on my iPad.
While
just in
you're
case.
searching that, I'm gonna grab some comments because we had a few coming here. Julia, did I already read this one? I think I did. Yeah, I did. So I'm gonna come down here to Julia's. It's just too bad that their introduction to porn was so poorly written. We're talking about 50 Shades again. There's way better jumping off points than that crap. And Dan, this is how a single word can get you into big trouble.
Yes, I didn't say that right. I was actually, in my defense, I was saying it as the ridiculous description that
Exactly.
people see women as.
For sure.
I wasn't saying it as myself.
I know.
That I think they're simple housewives. I think society sees a lot of women as simple housewives.
Which I can see that.
And I was trying to make a mockery of
sure.
that phrase. But
sure.
Whatever.
So I'm going to go to this next comment before, Tiffany, if you found that. She
No, I did
says,
not.
this is Donna. Hi, Donna Daisy. This is, anyway, I'll just read her comment. After receiving a few snarky comments about being a housewife, I now tell people, quote, I am a full-time trophy wife. Dean's my sugar daddy.
Mm-hmm.
That is Dean Daisy's wife. Donna, I love you. That's a great comment. How funny. Being snarky herself, she's like, being a housewife, she's like, I'm absolutely a trophy wife.
There is something that, oh God, I'm going to get it wrong, but Coma says something, I'm a trophy wife, not a housewife, or I'm a trophy wife, not something, is what she says. But I think it's like, I'm a trophy wife, not a housewife. And it cracks me up. And I completely lose the comic end of it when I don't get the punchline right.
Right. I feel ya.
But yeah, it is well, I'm up here. I'm not,
You know, and there's what's funny is that in this day and age of women working and women demanding the same wages and there are the housewives who are feeling shitty about being a housewife because am I supposed to work? Like there are a lot of women who are perfectly happy being the housewife.
The only thing I forgot to do was put simple housewives in quotes.
Oh, okay, there you go. He's going to dwell on that.
Oh yeah.
But the thing is I
Still
guess
got it wrong, Dan.
Yeah. So, but I'm backing up the housewife role. Like some people choose to be a housewife and they kick ass at it.
Yeah.
And that should be commended because that's okay.
Well-
That's totally okay if you choose that. If you haven't been forced there or told to be that, you're like, no, I love being a stay-at-home mom and I keep my house and and I do this and I do that. There's nothing wrong with being a housewife.
Yeah. It's not only okay or there's nothing wrong with it, but it's very important. The first 7 years of your life, you're in this.
Certainly.
So, okay, I told you earlier, I work with a hypnotherapist as well.
Yes.
In the first 7 years of your life, you're in this theta brainwave state. So you're just absorbing. So it's actually very, very important the people that you're around and what they're giving you because you're just a sponge.
You don't speak the language, but you're hearing it.
Right.
You're soaking it in.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so all of that is so impactful to the entire way that a person will perform for the rest of their life.
Yes.
And they're going to spend a lot of time in therapy figuring the rest of that shit out. And if they don't figure it out, like if it's not, done correctly in the first 7 years. But also, so many people that I know now are having to deal with the, the cost of childcare. And is it worth it for both parents to work?
Right.
If they are in a committed relationship where they're in the same relationship with the child, is it worth it for both parents to actually work or for one to stay home?
Right.
One of my friends, actually my friend who does my nails, she was telling me her son is going to kindergarten this year. And she was like, I'm just so excited to save $750 a month.
It's incredible. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
For preschool.
For freaking daycare.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow. Like that's,
You don't think about that.
yeah.
Yep.
So, and she works, so, I mean, all of these things that come into it with like if you are everything that we do, all of our parts of existence and humanity it makes up the decisions and the things the way that we interact with humans later on. So the way that you shape that human at the beginning of their life, oh my God.
It's so important.
Like let's put some real effort into that because how they absorb everything and how they act later changes who they are and how they interact and how they treat other people.
There's a common thing, and I don't know. I know there's the comics. Louis C.K. says it, but Dan knows also. You're not raising a child. You're raising the adult that they're going to be.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
So and I'm a firm believer. I don't have children, but I'm a firm believer in stop with the fucking baby talk.
Yeah.
Stop going da mama. No, say daddy and mommy. Because that kid's gonna go da mama. He's not gonna learn the language.
Yeah.
So I'm a firm believer in stopping with the baby talk. Like
Yes.
fucking talking to your kid like they're a baby.
Yeah.
They're 6 months old. Start talking to them and say light. Light, not light. Is that a light? Is that a light? No, it's a light. You know, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because they are hearing that. And then by 18 months, they're going, that's why people can't say names.
Yeah.
I couldn't say my brother's name. I said Bent because I couldn't say an R for a while. But my parents were distinctly saying to me, Brent. But I was like,
I couldn't say yellow for a long
it was me.
time, apparently.
But that was a different thing. But the baby talk, I've seen so many kids grow up with this. I can't understand what the fuck you're saying.
Yeah.
Well, it's because your parents talk to you in baby talk.
Yeah.
Talk to them like little humans.
The kids that I'm closest to, being Coma's kids, Lita
yeah.
and
they're
Owen.
beautiful kids.
Yeah, oh my God.
Jeez.
Yeah. So Lita, I forget sometimes that she is only 8. And I will talk to her like she's an adult. And I showed up this summer. Coma and Sam were having a cookout, and I show up with a friend, and Lita sees me from across the field, and Aunt Tiffany! And she runs across, and there's like 8 other kids there, which to me looks like 72.
Yes.
I'm like,
Exactly.
why are there
I
all
will
these
concur.
children? Yeah.
How many football fields of kids are
How
there?
many football?
Yeah, there are
Like 4 football fields.
7,004. So Lita comes up, she runs up, and I just looked at her because I talked to Lita like she's a human. And I said, why are there other kids here? And she's like, well, they're all my age. And I was like, I don't care. They're not you. Like, I didn't know they were going to be here. And I have to remember sometimes that Lita is only 8.
Yeah.
When I'm talking to her.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I do talk to her like she's and I'm like, oh yeah, like this is my friend's kid. And now that Owen can talk too, which is going to be a whole other experience because
How old is
she's
he?
Owen, she is yeah.
It's a she, Owen.
Yeah.
Okay, I've seen the name Owen several times on her
Yeah,
page, and I thought it was
on
a
purpose.
boy.
On purpose.
Okay,
yeah.
love it.
Yeah. Owen did not speak for a long time, and then once she started speaking, it was like full sentences, and she's like an expositor. Wow. And so they're both hilarious, and they're my favorite people, and I love spending time with them.
It's good people.
Yeah.
So before we get out of here, I want to touch on something you mentioned before we went live. So what is this repelling business?
Oh. Yeah.
He doesn't even know about this.
Yeah. So I'm gonna jump off a building on Saturday.
This Saturday, coming up
This Saturday.
in 2 days.
Yeah. So on the 17th of September.
Have you ever jumped off a building before?
Not off of a building, no.
Right.
I have rappelled before. So, so what this is, it is for the. I did just realize that I should probably pull up the exact info.
If it's for charity, for sure.
Yeah, for the Child Advocacy Center.
Nice.
So, if we don't talk about it, we can't fix it. What is the Child Advocacy Center? So I'm just going to read you guys exactly because I don't want to misrepresent a
Certainly.
Perfect.
a charity that I am representing.
Absolutely.
So the Child Advocacy Center, it's almost like I speak for a living, provides a child-friendly environment where partner agencies come together to investigate allegations of child abuse. The Child Advocacy Center advocates for the needs of child victims, provides access to critical services, and raises community awareness to prevent and reduce child abuse in Southern Missouri. So the way that they are raising funds this Saturday is that you commit to this and you say, I'm going to jump off this building and I will raise $1,000 to be able to rappel off this. So if you don't raise your $1,000, then they're going to charge you for it.
So you have to pay it out of your
you
pocket.
have to pay it. Now I did raise my $1,000, but if you would like to donate more, it is on my Facebook, and I'll put a comment on the show and everything, and make sure that everybody can donate to that. But yeah, so they're raising money for the Child Advocacy Center, and the funny thing is that when I was in high school and we would do these team building things, like youth group,
Right.
youth group.
I know what you're talking about.
So we go, and you're like, yes, you. So sorry, Dan and I are having a little bit of
We connect,
fun.
yeah.
So you go, and we went to Eminence, and there was a 60-foot cliff that we
Which
were
is
going
a beautiful place to visit.
Yeah. We were going to rappel off this cliff. And once you are on belay, which if you don't know what that means, it means that you are hooked into the apparatus that you will then go over the cliff. You are hooked in, you're secure, everything is good. So once you're on belay, you're not allowed to come off belay, even if you have a mental breakdown. There was a girl with Down syndrome, a mentally retarded girl who was with us, and she had an episode, but they stuck with her. She did not come off belay, and she eventually went over.
Nice.
I was at the same place. I was on belay. I had enough of an episode that they let me off belay.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
So I have had an issue with heights in the past.
Sure.
I did eventually go back on belay, and I did go over.
Nice.
So fast forward, I'm going to go like on belay, and I'm going to go over 11 stories off of the Sky 11 building.
So, okay. Child Advocacy
I
Center
was gonna say
this Saturday. Where?
at
the Sky 11 building.
Sky
so
11
right,
building.
but
so
where
if you know
is
where,
that?
okay, so you know where the
It's right
Gloy
by the
Theater
Gloys.
is. Yeah.
I know where it is, but I want.
Okay,
This
sorry.
is
Sorry.
where we pretend like we don't know for the audience,
Just saying, this is where we discover where that is.
Pretend. So, if you were in the area, you would want to go to the Galois, and we would then go immediately to the east. And the building just immediately to the east of the Galois is the Sky 11 building. And on the back of it is where I will be rappelling off of. So I
What
check in
time?
at 11. I rappel at noon.
The event
geez.
actually takes place at the Galois first.
No.
You're
At the
just
Sky
saying
11
that
building.
for reference.
I'm
Okay.
just saying that because most people will actually Google the Galois
Sure,
and they Google
So,
Sky 11.
are there other local celebrities doing this?
I have no idea.
Okay.
I do know that there are a lot of people who do it every year, and they raise a good amount of money. And I have raised my part. Thank you to everybody who contributed.
Awesome.
And you still can contribute more.
Yes, you can. Yes, and we will post that because honestly, it goes to the kids, and it's so something that we talk about a lot of different social issues, and what we don't talk about a lot is that Greene County has one of the highest domestic abuse, child abuse. We're pretty terrible for all of that. So
Well, we're meth capital of the country.
I
but,
mean, yeah.
in the surrounding areas.
Yeah. So the Child Advocacy Center does a lot to help with the kids, and the money goes to helping
Literally
with
to
child abuse
local
situ-
kids.
Yes. Yeah.
Cool.
So-
So noon, Saturday.
Noon is when I'm going to go over the edge. Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
Yeah. I've got to pick my song and send it. I'm thinking of Lean Back. But
Maybe we can show up with a camera.
do it.
I'm free.
Oh, would you guys like to hear a funny story about the song Free Fallin'?
Oh my
Yes,
God.
Okay,
of
so
course.
real quick, when I was the president of SAD in high school, Students Against Drunk Driving, that later became Students Against Destructive Decisions, we did one of those
Really?
mock wrecks.
It changed to that?
Yeah, destructive decisions.
Okay.
Because it wasn't just drunk
Just
driving.
drunk
that could-
driving. It
Yeah.
was drugs
Sure.
and everything.
Lots of
okay,
stuff.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Go ahead, honey.
So we did a mock wreck, and they told I was going to be one of the kids in the mock wreck, and they're like, "Yeah, we're going to like stick some chicken to you and do all this stuff." Cool. They didn't tell me to like bring extra clothes.
Right.
So they stick chicken breast to my face and to my body with like silicone, and they didn't explain that they were going to like cut up my shirt and like do all this stuff. So my friend Keith, I think his name was Keith Martin. He had a trench coat. This is honest, and I'm not
the
trying
days
to
when
be.
trench coats were cool.
Columbine happened my senior year, and this was right before that. So I'm not
Right.
trying to be disrespectful in any way, but he wore a trench coat, and he was not a creep in his trench coat. But he had a trench coat, and he was like, because I had to cut up my shirt and all this stuff, and so the rest of the day to school I wore his trench coat, and he would sing to me in the halls, "'Cause I'm free, free falling," and I was like. Yeah, and it had to do with the fact that I could not wear a bra.
Oh!
because my bra had been
Destroyed.
disintegrated by the Karo syrup that was in red dye
The lovely blood.
and chicken.
And chicken meat.
There you go.
Absolutely.
So one thing we always try to ask, even though we've sat here and talked and found out so much stuff,
We're at 3 hours. Holy
if
shit.
there's anything about Tiffany Samples that just like almost nobody knows, somebody might know, but something that maybe in your life didn't seem like a big deal, but you're like, one thing you probably don't know about me is, for example, like probably one for me, and I've said this before, but I actually auditioned for a McDonald's commercial in St. Louis one time. Another thing that Shell Crook did was she was in the military and was stationed at the Pentagon. I mean,
People don't know this shit.
Noble Bowman was actually at the church service where Jimmy Swaggart admitted his sins.
He was there in person.
He was actually there in person.
I have sinned.
Is there anything about Tiffany that, like, man, of all the things, you've done all these cool things, that's awesome. Maybe it's a small story, a tiny, like, here's something I've done that probably nobody knows about.
Well, she's already mentioned about 100.
I know. She's been good about
It's
telling us
super
everything.
freaking hard.
It could be an embarrassing story. It could be a meeting a famous person story. It could be
We haven't touched that.
just something that's like one quick thing to end the show. That's like, here's something probably no one knows about me.
Yeah, I mean, the famous weird thing, like I've got pictures with Ron Jeremy from years ago, but
That's good. That's good right there.
What kind of pictures, Tiffany?
Yeah. What were we talking here?
And we're done. No.
I don't know. I live my life in a pretty open book regimen. Like there are parts of, I guess, my inner workings, the insecurities or whatever that people may not know, but the experiences I've had, I try to live pretty much out loud because you never know when the experience that you have had will impact somebody else.
100%.
100.
Yes.
And I try to glean off of everybody. And I love learning about people. That's my favorite thing in the world.
That's
It's to
why we
just
do
like-
this.
Yeah, right?
That's why we do this.
Is there anything better, really?
Right? Exactly.
Yeah. So, I don't know that I have anything to say that people wouldn't know already.
Well, like you accidentally stepped on a turtle and crushed his. It could be something just super
I
stupid.
mean, my mom would never let me do that. My mom was obsessed with turtles and snakes when I was
See?
younger. She had to.
How
she had
crazy
to,
is that?
Yeah.
Right?
Here we go.
No. She had to save all of them, even snakes. We would have like a mason jar with the little holes punched in it in the back of our car, just in case she would pull over and like see a snake. And we'd have to throw it in there. And
I did
like,
that with frogs.
Take it to the grandparents' farm.
You preemptively had
I
a
did that
mason
with
jar.
frogs. I did that with frogs and
Yeah.
coffee cans. Coffee
Yeah.
cans, frogs, hopping across the
Yeah,
street.
but
Mom, pull over.
She preemptively had mason jars with the holes poked
Fair.
in case they saw something
Yeah,
driving
that's
down
better.
the road.
That's better than my story.
I
Yeah.
usually did the mason jars or the coffee cans afterwards and poked the holes.
For real. Same here.
She had them already in the trunk in
Well,
case
it was
'em.
probably just because she had one. And then, like, she'd release
kept
the
the
snake at my
right.
great grandparents' farm, and
So
then
she
be
was
like,
a-
"Oh,
It
there's
was
another one."
still there.
She was a member of the Turtle Protection Society.
Yeah,
Yes.
like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like,
For real.
the only reason that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles exist is because my mom saved them all.
For real. Yes. And threw them in
and
the gutter.
she's the one who threw them in
Into
like the
the-
radioactive
Yes,
goo. And
right.
then they're like, and then Splinter was like, "I will save you." And then she also saved Splinter in case you didn't know.
Right, of course.
But yeah, that was all my mom. That was
Gotcha.
all her.
Yes. I'm a part of the Turtle Protection Society, aren't you?
Oh gosh, I
Mm-hmm.
love
There's
saving
just the other
turtles.
day, I hated this, and it made me so sad. I was driving on my way to freaking Branson West, and there was
Why?
a turtle. I don't know, to put cabinet doors on a freaking house, and I see this turtle, and he's like booking it. He's doing his best.
Oh, yeah.
to book it across. Like he's like heads up. And I see this car coming this way because he was in the northbound lane. I was going south. And he was just, this turtle, it was almost like he knew. It was almost like I'm crossing this fucking road. And he was like, And I swear he got to about a foot from the white line. And I couldn't watch. Like I wanted to watch, but I couldn't watch because I knew there were cars coming. And I'm like, you motherfuckers, if you hit him, I'm going to turn around and I'm going to fucking hunt you down
Punch you in your
and
face.
punch you in your throat. You know what I mean? Because it's like, you can avoid that. He was 6 inches from the white line when I stopped looking at it because I was like, because these turtles are they're just doing their thing, man.
So every morning, the first thing I do is I make my coffee and I go out, I meditate, I drink my coffee. And then on the weekends, I also journal. And then Gobo comes out on the porch with me while I journal. So I'm journaling one weekend, and
This is your dog.
yes.
Gobo's awesome.
Yeah, he is. He's kind of
And
the best.
rest in peace.
Rest in
those
peace,
who
Rue. I know.
We met Rue.
Yeah. So Gobo's a solo dolo now. Solo dolo. But so he's like intensely watching something across the street one day, and I know that he can see things better than I. But I'm like, what are you watching? And he's just. And he's like all worked up and he's doing his like back and forth. You know, I gotta get up and I gotta get down. And I'm like, what are you watching? And I finally figured out it's raining. There's a turtle. And so we walked over when it was time for his walk, because that's the other thing we do in the morning. And he got to meet a turtle for the first time. And he was kind of like, at first he was like really excited. And then once he saw it, he was like, never mind.
Not interested.
Right?
Not interested in that creepy bastard.
Yeah, it's like that weird thing that lives in its own. No.
I might have told this story before, but can I tell my Thor turtle story?
Yeah, I was going to tell the Patsy Turtle story.
Well, that's even better, I think. But here's another turtle story.
Okay.
You tell the Patsy one later. I'll tell the Thor one.
okay.
Thor is my mule, my riding mule. Like he's a 15 hand. Like you can actually put a saddle on him and ride. So when he was about 3 years old, I started riding him on trails all over the place. He's 21 right now. So he was a baby back then. And this is his first set of trails. And then we were at Stockton Lake. There's a really good horse trail up at Stockton Lake. We're riding. And there were like 13, 14 horses and cows? No, mules on this trail. And so here we go. We're riding. And all of a sudden, my mule decides to turn on a dime. He puts his 4 feet together and just turns on a dime and runs the other way. And I'm like, what the hell? Because I heard it. I heard what it was. You know how box turtles make that when they close up? Yes, they make a yeah, right. Yes, that thing. And so I heard it too, but he was a 3-year-old baby mule who had never discovered this before. Me as the human, I was like, that's a fucking turtle. Who cares? But he, on this tiny little path with
1,000-pound mule.
a 1,000-pound mule, there's a bluff here and a cliff here to water. And he, on his 4 little feet, turns around and runs back. Like, I'm on his back. I'm like, okay, whatever. Okay, cool. And then he creeps up back to the turtle very slowly, doing snorty things like horses do. He puts his head down. He sniffs at it, and it goes once again, and he goes, all right. And he walks on. He had never seen a box turtle before. He was a 3-year-old baby guy on a trail. But I tell you what, with that cliff right here, it scared the shit out of me. But he was safe. He was perfectly awesome. He was awesome. And we've heard turtles since then, seen turtles since then, and he was totally fine. But that moment was, I don't know if that's entertaining or not, but the story. But I love the fact that the mule didn't kill me in the process of running away. He ran about, I don't know. See, I don't know distance either. I would say a third of a football field.
Right.
Back this way, and then turned around and came back and looked at it. And then he was like, I'm good. Cool. But Patsy's turtle story is even better.
No, it's not better. She just used to get turtles
No.
and bring them back to the shop and drop them like they were a ball. And so we started numbering them.
Yeah.
Because she would go find the same. We'd be like, okay, she wouldn't kill them or anything, but she
No.
would put them in her mouth, and she'd come and
A box
look at
turtle.
us with a turtle.
That's Patsy's our golden retriever.
in her mind, it was just a tennis ball.
Right.
So she would drop it,
I'm like,
and she could find anything.
Yeah.
She could find. I
you
mean,
throw a rock this big.
golden retrievers like. This is the only golden retriever I've ever had in my life, and I was like, bullshit. She's like, no, they're super smart dogs. I was like, bullshit. I'll take a rock the size of a quarter, and I would like write my initials on it, DF, and I would sling it into a wheat field as far as I could throw, probably about 40 yards on a football field.
Thank you for the. I appreciate that.
And it would disappear into a wheat field, and she'd be gone for about an hour. And she'd come back and lay down a rock that had my DF on it.
Are
I
you
was like,
serious?
oh, I swear
seriously.
to God.
Seriously.
I had no idea this was even possible.
I've had a dog that a golden that did that underwater. But
So
anyway,
Wow.
when she would bring turtles to us, we would go try to put the turtle back. But because it's her, we were like, she's just going to go get that fucking turtle again because she can find anything. So we started
'Cause it has
taking
our
a
scent on it.
Yeah.
we started taking a Sharpie and we started numbering their
One.
shells. And we would go like distract her and then go put the turtle away. And she'd come a couple hours later, she'd have a turtle in her mouth.
there was no
And I'm
one
like,
on its back.
how the fuck? And then
it was
she
a
would
different turtle.
she would drop it and he didn't have the number 1 on it. I was
Two.
like, fuck.
That one's 2.
So we named him number 2. We'd go put him away. Fucking next day or two, she'd come back with a turtle. I was like, I wonder if she'd drop it, no number. It's like number 3.
Yeah.
Did we ever get
It
a
was
repeat
funny.
number?
I don't think we ever got a repeat.
But she kept finding these freaking box turtles.
She kind of knew that she's smart. I believe she's actually smart enough to know, like, they don't want me to go get that turtle again. Like, because we were like, no, don't
this
get
is not a
turtles.
ball.
Like,
Yeah, we're
use
releasing
your
the turtle.
tennis
We
ball.
would throw an actual ball or something like, here, chase this.
I think she kind of understood, like, we do not
Then
want
she'd
you to
go
fetch
off,
turtles.
And she'd come back like, and she would never hurt it. She never chewed on it or anything like that. It was just a freaking turtle that would arrive.
I love turtles. The only thing I would say is it's my dream that Pixar, a company like that, would do a turtle movie.
Dude.
Like a movie that is
how
just
have they not?
like actual turtles with families of turtles and they're all everything else. And Grandpa
We're missing
becomes
something, right? I think
the grandpa.
Right. There's a whole thing.
like he's lived such a life and it's just been amazing.
I tell
and
you, my children.
the whole thing and the whole movie would be about how amazing Grandpa was and how because turtles live so long, so the stories that could be told through like a Pixar movie via turtles
Oh
would
my
just
God,
right?
would just be amazing.
Let's write the screenplay.
And I
right
think-
all
now.
of the, I mean, every war,
oh
every
yeah,
Right?
all these things, and
turtles
then
live longer than anything.
yes,
Tortoises,
love
Tortoises, actually.
Yeah,
You're
yeah.
right.
tortoises, yes, love stories and all this kind of stuff. And then at the very end of the movie, when it's just like we're kind of like wrapping up the end, and it would be awesome. And Grandpa is like leaving, and he's like, "All right," and we love Grandpa so much. I think the movie just ends with like, and just fucking flattens him that fast.
You just ruined it.
No, because it's making a point.
Okay.
When people run over fucking turtles, you have no idea what you are fucking smashing.
Right. That's true.
I think it would be a great way to end a Pixar movie. I'm fucked up, Tiffany. You know this.
Welcome to Dan.
She's like, you had me.
I
had
equally
me.
hate you, love you. Like I can't like. Oh, I have so many emotions right now, Dan, and they're all focused at you.
And he's got a number 2 on his back from Patsy.
Right.
The whole bit.
Yeah.
I just want to teach people to quit fucking run over
running
turtles
over
on
turtles.
purpose.
Yeah.
I
Well,
knew a guy that would do it on purpose.
Watch this. Listen to this.
Well, there's nothing to listen to. I just knew
sorry,
a guy
I
that would
back
run
with
over
him
him on
because I'm gonna say
purpose. Like, oh, there's a turtle. Like, I get 10
Kapow.
points and flatten him. I'm like, fucking stop doing that,
Exactly.
man.
Right?
I know people who would do that to snakes, and while a lot of people do not know the difference between a rattlesnake and a copperhead and a
black
garter
snake.
snake and all the
Sure.
things,
Black snakes.
and I try really hard to not be afraid of the bats. You know, like
I would love a black snake to live in my house to get my mice.
You know, God,
I want one as a
freaking
pet.
mice.
Mice right now are
Okay.
killing us.
I live next to a park, and
Yep.
Yes.
so Gobo, my lovely house beast, will bark
have
at
another?
all of the squirrels and the rabbits and the cats outside of the house and the mail person who brings the mail, and he's just all, you know, he's like, you will all
Watchdog
die,
guy. Yes.
from my, you know,
For real.
he's this 80-pound house beast. A mouse comes in the house and he looks over and he's like, that's my friend.
Right, exactly.
And I'm like,
Dude,
that
you
fucker
need
is
to-
like, he's not okay.
Yeah.
But Gobo's like, yeah, no, I mean, like, I met him, like, he's okay.
he's
like, I know
cool.
you
He's
really
just
want
chilling,
him here,
man.
but, like,
He's-
he's all right. And
he's
I'm
just
like,
living.
no. So yes, the mouse thing is a problem, and it needs to go.
We are infested. So there have been we've set traps, and there was a week that we got 14 in 1 week, 14 mice, and we're still infested because they reproduce like worse than rabbits.
Yeah.
Anyway, so one day we came home and there's a dead mouse just laying there, no trap, just
wow.
laying there. I'm like, one of the dogs, right? And we didn't want to give praise to whichever one. We have a Great Dane and a Golden Retriever. So we're
Right.
like, we don't know who did it. Okay, cool. But then we're in the kitchen, and all of a sudden the Great Dane comes around the corner, goes, dead mouse. He smashed with his fucking paw.
Yeah.
And it just flattened that little sucker. So I'm doing this for effect.
Yeah, it's on purpose, and it works.
It's on purpose. Thank you.
and we can all hear it.
And it works. So shut
Yeah.
up.
And it works. So this Great Dane, out of nowhere, just put his big ass paw, boom, on a thing.
Just
But
smushed him.
there was another time that Patsy, the Golden Retriever, she totally caught one and spit it out and was like, "Fuck yeah, that's
Yeah.
my badass dog." But in the next 18 weeks, nothing. They're not.
Yeah.
They're, now I think they've made friends
So Gobo has eaten a couple of doors.
because is he part pit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just a blocky-headed little guy.
He's so evil.
I know.
Right.
So he's eaten a couple of doors, and it is mainly the door that I know where they come in because it's from that particular vent that comes in the side, and it comes in from the field and blah blah blah.
Gotcha.
So, he has eaten his way through a couple of doors, and I'm just like, look, like. I am so good at replacing doors. Actually, I sent you guys pictures and videos whenever I was chiseling out, chiseling these motherfucking hinges.
Yep.
Yeah, I did it again.
Okay.
Yeah, since the last
since
one
we were
I sent
there?
you, I think since the last one I sent you, I've maybe replaced 2 more.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Yeah.
Come on, Gobo.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he won't
so-
kill the mice.
No, but then he's real proud of himself for being like, when the only thing that ever gets the mice is the sticky traps, which I feel really bad
Ooh,
about.
I hate those.
I know. Like, at least if you would get in like in the snap traps, like
Done.
boom.
I'd
Done.
rather knock them out.
I know.
Yes. Yes.
Like at
I
least
spent
your life
4
is over.
hours removing a mouse from a sticky trap one time.
No,
yeah,
fuck
but a
sticky traps.
sticky trap, like, but it's the only thing that works. And I'm like, I can't have you in my house.
Yeah.
Especially when this one recently, like, I'm watching Netflix, and Gobo's in his bed right here by my couch. And I look over and I see this guy, this
guy.
Right?
this little guy.
They get ballsy.
And
These bitches, they get
and
ballsy.
he's like looking around. He's like, hey. And he's over at the baseboard. Oh, it's a bouse like it's base. Anyway, he's over at the baseboard and he's like, hey. And he's like trying. And I'm like,
Is he cheerleading?
I don't know what he was doing, but he was doing his little mouse dance. And I swear it's the most active I have ever seen a mouse in my life. And I'm like, what are you even? And Gobo kind of looks over at him. And I'm like, yeah, dude, like, this is your job.
Right?
I do your laundry. I
Right?
feed you. You don't pay anything around here. I've done your laundry. You are 10 years old. We've been in a relationship for 10 years. I have done your laundry. I have made your bed. I
take
have
you on
bought your
walks.
beds. I pick up your shit every day on these walks, and I clip your nail. I pay for this. I pay for the, whatever. Like, you need a new fucking coat. Okay,
I keep you
need
healthy.
a collar. Yeah, whatever.
You need a
Like,
thunder coat.
Yeah.
Okay, gotcha.
Okay, yeah, your Thunder Wonder pills
Right.
too. Like, let's just talk about those. Your CBD pills, so that you're okay when I go to work to make money to pay for your bills.
And you're not doing shit.
Yeah,
The least you could do.
yeah.
Is kill a
There's
fucking
a
mouse.
mouse.
A fucking mouse.
And he's like,
Nah, we're friends.
kind of.
I don't want to deal with them either.
Yeah,
We had a couple of
but
nice...
the cat outside, or the squirrel, or whatever. That's what he's gonna lose his shit.
Right. I'm not worried about
Right.
them.
No. Well, they're in the house, so they must be okay, Mom.
Right. This is my friend.
That's a great story to end
End it on, because
Yeah,
we were
no.
over 3 hours.
That's just too good.
Sisters and brothers.
I do your laundry.
I do your laundry.
I do.
I have clipped your nails.
You know what? He doesn't even have thumbs. Like, I mean,
Can't do the dishes.
Can't do
I've
the
asked him to get a
dishes.
job.
Right. He won't get a job.
10 years. That's
Your-
a long
your one
time to
job.
be in a relationship
Your-
with somebody
right.
who won't even.
Freeloading son of a bitch.
Yeah. Like, I mean, come on. Have you ever, like, have you had to pick up his shit?
I have never picked up dog shit in my life.
No, I mean,
Dan's?
Damn
yeah.
shit.
I've had to. He's had to pick up mine, and I've had to pick up his.
Like,
Metaphorically.
Okay.
Metaphorically.
But I'm talking
Thank
like-
you. No, she doesn't.
I don't
Right.
pick up his
She
literal
doesn't
shit.
consistently pick up
No.
and bag my shit every
But
day.
we have metaphorically.
Well,
picked up
I
each
do that
other's
every
shit.
day for Gobo, and he does not pay
He does
any
not
bills.
reciprocate.
So,
Tiffany, I've had such fun with you tonight.
This has been great.
You fucking crack me up. I think you could actually, you know what you can't do? You
What?
cannot be a stand-up comedian.
no.
I just wanted to tell you that.
Right.
But
Just
I
in-
will
just
say,
in
You know
case
why
it
he
chal-
said that, right?
so that I would do it, because if you tell me I can't do something.
Yes.
I will tell you though, okay, side note real quick. My favorite of all time, Dion Cole, Cold-Hearted. If you have it's on Netflix. Dion Cole, Cold-Hearted.
Okay.
Is the best. And all I will say, and once you watch this film, but experience every summer you have left, because how old are you right now?
I'm 51.
Okay. So you have approximately 35 summers left.
Right.
Think about that.
When you put it that way,
Right.
Yeah, but it's good.
right?
It's
Yeah.
good.
Live every moment.
Yeah.
You are the only person that you know you have to live with for the rest of your life. So
True that. Somebody wrote that on our wall, our bathroom wall.
weird.
I know, weird, crazy.
I'm super happy to see you doing so good and living so happy. It's great.
We're so proud of you.
And you crack. If it makes you happy.
Yes. It can't be that bad.
Hell yeah. So you're going to come sing karaoke with me soon?
hell are you so
Oh,
sad? Yes, I
she
will.
Okay.
will, she
So
will.
after
She already has a few
after
times.
Jin's show.
Yeah, I was there. Yeah, I was there. I think your first
certainly
Friday. Yeah.
one of the
But
first.
yeah, tomorrow night is Jen JX, his curated birthday show for his 40th birthday at the Cellar, and then
Saturday, you repel.
and Saturday.
Fall
noon.
off a building.
But you
jump
can
off a
still
building.
you can still sing some like karaoke, do free falling.
Yeah.
She's already been, and she will come again.
know, I'm just
Speaking of her
playing.
office
we're-
being next to Marty's, I
Yes.
actually met her at the dumpster the other day.
You did. How
And we had a
lovely.
little
I was taking out my
conversation.
trash and I saw some out back.
You guys are taking out the trash. Right on.
It was fun.
Because you're cooking and I'm doing karaoke. So
But
real quick,
gosh dang.
before we go, so Josh Yue did not post this as a message because he doesn't want to promote his show on our show whenever you can. It's Joshua Spam.
Right.
But he has a reunion show. What's Next? The band What's Next. You remember?
Yes, I
Yes.
do.
Right. So What's Next? They all came out and karaoke'd with me 3 weeks ago.
I saw this on your. Yeah, I saw
And
this
all of a
little bit on
sudden,
your-
they're doing a fucking reunion
Yeah.
show because of that night. February 4th at the Riff. So what's
Yeah,
next?
You just said February 4th.
February 4th, yes.
As in like February of
As in-
2023?
Correct.
Yes.
Wow,
Yes.
okay. That's
So they're
okay.
because they
Few
want to
months
rehearse,
out.
because Paralandra's busy and
Oh, okay.
and,
I mean, that makes
you know,
sense. Yeah,
Paul's
I just
busy.
wanted to make sure.
Right.
Yeah.
February
Wow.
4th at the Riff. So I'm just putting that out there now.
Yeah.
He sent a private message, and I'm like, he promotes a show on our show whenever
Whenever
he
you
can.
can, it's Joshua Spam.
Which we love so much. But anyway, Tiffany, I just wanted to throw that out there. But Tiffany, thank you for being here.
Thank you for letting me.
Letting you?
Letting you. We've wanted
Begging you.
here.
Thank you for begging you.
Honestly, okay.
From the beginning.
It has been. It has been like.
She was
It-
probably one of the
it's been a
very first
long
people
time.
we messaged.
Yes.
And she's like,
It-
I don't know.
You know- Okay, there's a lot of honest shit that happens on the show, and I had to make sure that I was in a really good place,
Yes.
Which I love.
and I love you guys. And
Which we
honestly, like
Cheers.
if any of you are watching the actual
Cheers.
I adore you. I appreciate your honesty, your place to like give people a platform to say what they need to say, and thank you so much.
You bet.
Thanks.
It's been great.
We are Unsung Screamers.
Cheers.
That's what we are.
Unsung Screamers right here. Catch us every Thursday. Listen to Monday Morning
We'll see you
Medication.
guys. Thanks for tuning in.
I'm going to do the
This is my
typical-
unsung scream.
Is it? Oh, I get it. I get it. Oh, I get it. Hilarious. I love you so much.
I love you.
If you want to support the show, all that shit's scrolling across the bottom of the screen as usual. Please check out Monday Morning Medication. We apologize.
Goofy ass.
We apologize for no Monday Morning Medication this week. We were swamped with a bunch of shit
Special guest this
we
Monday
had to
morning.
do. Do we? Yes, we do. Should I announce?
No.
Okay. We have a special guest going to be on Monday Morning Medication this coming Monday. We are not going to announce who that is, but join us Monday morning at some point in the morning. Monday, we will release that episode audio only. It's not a live thing. It's not a video thing. And we will post that on Monday as well. Please join us every Thursday. Next Thursday, who's the guest? No telling. But I think I know who it's going to be. Could be the same mystery guest. I don't know. But please watch us, join us. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you to our current patrons who do support us on Patreon. We love you so much. And anybody who's ever just shot us $5, $1, $2, we appreciate it very, very much. So we are out. Tiffany, love you. Bye. We are out. Children.